Happy Sunday morning. It's NFL Week 11. We made it. We're here. If you're here with us this morning, we thank you very much. If you catch us later, we appreciate your support either way. We're going to be doing multiple things today. We're looking at some underdog. We're going to do some underdog slips. We'll look at some monkey knife fight. We'll look at some sports betting stuff. We're going to build lineups on FanDuel, Draftkings, Yahoo. We're going to be looking at the Study Hub. Beastie and I, we're going to be talking about all things NFL, all things DFS, sprinkling in some sports betting, and I buried the lead. We're giving away 2 free memberships today. That's right, 2 free memberships via this tweet. So basically all you got to do, my friends, retweet and tune in. So if you're here right now watching, you are already eligible. And if you grab the link I just posted in chat, or you go to my profile and you grab that, you have a chance at winning yourself a free membership with TeamRiserFall.com. We've had multiple people win over $100,000 on a slate over the last 3 weeks, several members, one of our staff. We've had dozens and dozens of people hitting that ROF Comma Club on Twitter when they tweet us and things like that. It means they've won over $1,000, somewhere between 1 and I think 26,000 is the low and the high range we've had for about probably 40 or 50 different people since we started this maybe 20 days ago, 2 weeks ago. It's been phenomenal to see. So the members are on fire, staff's on fire. It's a great time to get one of these freebies. And listen, if you don't win it here, sign up, give it a look. And here's what you end up getting. I'm going to draw this like right when I'm done talking. So sorry, Beastie. I'll get to you in a second, my friend. I'm sorry. If you're wondering, you're like, well, why would I sign up? What do I want here? Well, every single day, NFL, NBA, MLB, NASCAR, PGA, NHL, MMA, esports, we put in stuff for some of the bigger tournaments when these happen on the side, bunch of stuff to support FC, support you guys with using the site, all sorts of tutorials and everything. Every month you get $20 to use on Fantasy Cruncher, which we will use today. You will end up getting, all sorts of premium core picks that we have completely optimized to be used on your mobile devices or your tablets. They look beautiful. Player pools for both those as well. You get full cheat sheets and articles and videos. You get private streams. We have so much stuff, and you can grab that link via this in chat. So again, all you got to do right there with this, retweet it, and I'll do a drawing after Beastie says his good morning here. And we'll draw. And then if you did not win the drawing, I hope you end up signing up either way. I think you'll enjoy your stay. Chris, maybe I buried the lead when I hit you with this morning's intro, but I had some house cleaning to do. How you doing, my dude?
It's all good. Thank you. And you know what? It's wild to me how things, if it's done right, things just happen naturally, organically, as people say. And week to week, I kind of, morphed into each broadcast. I'm here with you on Sunday. You give me an open forum at the end of the broadcast. And I like to use it, and say something I think is important here. And this week, it's all about just really shutting up and listen. Sometimes people, they listen to reply. They don't listen to just think about it and take it in. So that's what I was going to mention at the end of the broadcast, but you buried the lead, and guess what? I sat back and I listened and I took it all in. So it just organically, it's unbelievable here. People talk about organic fruit and vegetables, but what about organic relationships, friendships? And we go from there. So yeah, very good morning. I can't believe it's week 11 already. Time is, I mentioned, sorry to, kind of just keep saying that in my single game videos, but I just can't believe it. One of my best friends in the world, we grew up together. His name's Alex. Happy birthday to you. He turns 38 today, and I texted him first thing this morning. Happy birthday, Alex, but where the heck has the time go? We're closer to 40 now than we are to 30, and it's just insane to me growing up. And you look at when you're a kid, right, Mitch? I mean, you have kids of your own. I'm a single man, no kids, but when you're in high school or even college, it's everything is in front of you, and then you go, holy smokes, 40. When I'm 40, that's like a lifetime away, and boom, it's here in the blink of an eye. So stop, smell the roses, listen, take it all in, and I'm ready to go into the slate here, Mitch. Absolutely.
Well, let's do that, my friend. We've got a nice-looking 12-game slate today, actually. I think this is going to be a very good week. We don't really have many spots where there's mega chalk. We're not too concerned about, a guy being 60% owned or anything like that. And I think on those types of weeks, kind of the you can kind of go into building your lineups and just put together the best possible rosters you can without being too overly concerned about ownership. Now, you always have to be slightly concerned about it. You need to be thinking about it, because when there are certain spots where a guy might be higher owned than he should be, you want to leverage those situations. So you certainly are going to keep it in your mind, but it might not be in the forefront of your mind like it was last week when we had, 3 or 4 running backs at 30% owned, projected ownership, things like that. So this week, I think, is actually slightly different. Those spots, they're not 4K, 4,500 anymore. Those Mark Ingrams and those other backup running backs getting the starts last week. You actually have the opportunity this week to use them still at fairly solid pricing, but they've been priced up a little bit. It's still like there's a little bit of a bargain built into the price, but it's not uber chalk pricing. You've also got some interesting games here, scenarios where Dallas and KC, potential shootouts where you're going to have higher ownership across the board on all players. How do you leverage those? We're going to talk about that today. I'm also going to be showing a fair amount of lineup building while we're talking, just straight up going to FanDuel when we're talking about FanDuel. If you're bringing up a FanDuel price, I'm going to slide right over. We did this a few weeks ago. People loved it, just kind of got away from it. And if we're talking about DraftKings, yes, I'll show the study hub. We'll be looking at it. We'll look at the team, the games, the players, and everything. And then when we start bringing things up and talking about stacks, I'm going to slide over to DraftKings and I'm going to start trying to put together a DraftKings stack or a lineup while we're talking about that game, what it would look like if you were to use what we're saying as the base of that lineup. And then same thing for Yahoo, as I know that is getting progressively more popular each and every week. They have a glorious tournament over here with 200,000 in built-in overlay. It's basically a free $200 built in. So you guys can enter that if you'd like to play it. And we'll get in there together today. And I'm going to be building out there on Yahoo as well. So we're going to run the gambit here. Now, last week we also did Underdog. Guess what? Well, let me sign in off to the side here. The Underdog, and I actually want to start this off with Underdog first, okay? Because we actually have hit on NFL, I believe 3 weeks in a row. We had 1 week together in week 8. In week 9, your internet pooped out, and I got lucky. I hit it by myself, and then we hit it again last week in 10. We've had 3 weeks in a row where the 2-pick that we created on Underdog, the 2-pick slip, we actually nailed it. So that's 3 weeks straight that we have picked winners live. So I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead. We'll start off with this because I think this is a nice and easy way for people to tune into our stream, because you know how that works. People are kind of getting their coffee right now. They're going to come watch us live in a few minutes. We'll go from 50 viewers to 80 in 10 minutes. So while you're sitting there, tune in to the Underdog picks, grab the tweet that I'm posting in chat right now, retweet that bad boy. And when we're done with the Underdog picks, we're going to give away a free membership. All right. So Underdog, a lot of fun here. Use promo code Donuts. You can get a 100% deposit match up to $100. And you'll get a chance to dive in there and play these with them. So we're going to go straight to Pick'em today, Beastie. I'm not sure if you can see the screen again, but I'm going to click Pick'em here. Been doing NBA. I did one with my dad last night. We sat around the dinner table after dinner. We're like, let's do some NBA picks. It was so fun, man. We had we got 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3 right, but it was a 6 times return, so it was pretty worth it. Okay, so a few of these I've actually already done. I've already taken a few of these, and one of them was Tyrod Taylor under, and I believe I had him at under 220-something yards. His passing yardage is up to 233.5. Now, this is a guy who just once in his 48 career starts has over 300 yards, not really a high-volume passer, does not really ever throw the football a ton. He's had 4 games in his entire 49-start career, where he's thrown multiple touchdown passes. I'm just trying to paint a picture where there's a guy here who does not throw the football for many yards, does not accrue many stats. And what do you know? 2 out of his first 3 starts this year, he's got over 233 passing yards. So I think it's kind of a convoluted line. Game log watchers will look at this and say, yeah, he can totally get that. But if you look back at his career, that is not really a number that he hits very often. And I'm not entirely sure it's going to happen this week. Tennessee's defense is playing very well. I'm going under 233.5 passing yards. Now, if I were to go use the Sparry projections, I could simply research Tyrod Taylor by typing in Taylor, and you can actually see the Sparry 10,000 model 10,000 Sims model has him at 243 passing yards. So even I am going against the model there if I went with the under. Now, I'm curious to hear from you because I believe you actually mentioned him earlier this week. Did you not? How are you feeling about Tyrod Taylor's prospects today, and what do you think of this 233.5-yard passing line?
Really quick, while you're talking about Tyrod Taylor, I was watching, I forget what Big Ten game I was watching. It probably was Clemson and Wake Forest, and they had that, that All-State or the one with the duck where they asked the question of the folks, and it was who won the ACC last. It was Virginia Tech, and then the announcers got into talking about Tyrod Taylor, and I'm not kidding here, Mitch. They said, oh, he went on from Virginia Tech to have a great career, a great historic kind of career in the NFL, and I'm looking around. I go, are we talking about the same guy? Tyrod Taylor, very useful for formats like this, DFS, sports betting or prop betting here. And to be honest with you here, Mitch, I have Tyrod about 250-ish total passing yards in this one. So you're going to go against your own Sparry model and against me here. I have Tyrod around, attempting probably, looking at like 36 to 38 total passes. I think he completes 23 or 24 of those. And to be fair with you, when you look at the matchup here, Houston, they're a big-time road dog. I believe Houston's getting 10.5 in Tennessee and Nashville today here. You look at his price tag. I mean, I know we're not talking DFS, but it's very doable. I think I mentioned him in bottom of the barrel here. But just from the surface, as a casual sports bettor, as a casual DFS fan, you would look at it and go, Tennessee, they're 30th overall against opposing quarterbacks. I think Tyrod, I don't necessarily think Houston wins. I know I never care about the end of the game when we're talking DFS, just how many points are going to go around here. I think Tennessee wins this one, but I think Houston can put up 17 points, maybe around there. So to me, I think Tyrod is going to have his hand in all of it, in all the points that Houston scores here. So give me the over.
I tell you what, you're going over. MySparry.com's going over. I'm not under anymore. I'm just not touching it. If I'm the opposite direction of you and Sparry, forget it. That one's off the board. Here's one I like. Trevor Siemian, 223.5 passing yards against Philly. I think this one's an easy hit. I don't understand. I think that line might be a little too low. Simeon's been chucking the football out there in New Orleans, and they are once again missing Alvin Kamara, which means we're going to be seeing him throw the football a bunch again today, I believe. Honestly, let me look at Simeon. I don't even know his price tag here. Trevor, there he is. Okay.
7K on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 249 yards 2 starts ago, 298 yards last start. Came in relief in week 8, still threw for 159. I think that 223 against Philly just seems kind of low for me. I'm going to check Sparry real quick, but I might just stick to my guns here no matter what. Simeon, 240 yards. Okay, good. Now I feel better. So I've got the over, and not only is it an over, it's over by 17 yards. So I feel good there. How you feeling about Trevor Siemian against Philly today?
Yeah, over all day. I'm not going to talk you out of anything
Beautiful.
here. But it's going to be, 17 yards per the Sparry.com model. That's fantastic. I have him around 235. So just a couple yards less than the Sparry, but it doesn't matter. It's still over to me. Yeah, Sparry and Trevor Siemian both going to hit big time today.
I like that. All right, let's see if we could find another one here, because I think the reason why we've been so much better lately is because we've been extremely selective about what we are choosing and when we choose it. One of them I was actually looking for was the Nick Chubb rushing yards line against Detroit today, who I think might struggle big time. I'm sorry out there, Beastie. Detroit Beastie, my friend. I think it could be an absolute bloodbath, man, with Tim Boyle in there. And I think that, Nick Chubb healthy and back, I could see him getting 20, 25 carries and just going absolutely bonkers. So then over 92 rushing yards looks pretty sweet right now. I'm just kind of looking around to see if there's another one I want to take, to see if there's anything that pops off the screen. Jeffrey Wilson over 77.5 rushing yards, over a half a touchdown. I could see that too. I believe it's just him. Am I wrong? Did I see Michael Hasty is out this week? If he is, then it's Trey Sermon and Jeffrey Wilson. We know Sermon's been in the doghouse all season, in which case, San Francisco, listen, if you don't think Jeffrey Wilson's scoring a touchdown, you better be playing Jimmy Garoppolo today, because they're going to be scoring points somehow, some way, shape, or form. And if it isn't through Jimmy G's arm, then Jeffrey Wilson's going to get a rushing touchdown or two. And so you got to be on something today on that San Francisco offense against Jacksonville that just bleeds points to opposing teams. So Jeffrey Wilson over a half touchdown, that could be a nice one there. How you feeling about Jeffrey Wilson or Jimmy G at these two props? Jimmy G over 251 yards passing, Jeffrey Wilson, a half touchdown. Is he going to score today?
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to say this, as a joke. We're having fun. I want to preface it that way. The way the NFL has gone the last few weeks, I wouldn't be shocked for something weird to happen where Jeff Wilson gets exactly just a half a touchdown, and it just burns all of our lineups. It's just how weird it's gone. In terms of Jeff Wilson, absolutely over here. I have him for around a healthy workload. We know what a running back can do in the Shanahan-led offense here. In terms of Jimmy Garoppolo, I have the over here, but it's going to be close. We're going to be sweating it out to the end of the game here. I have Jimmy Garoppolo right at like 255, maybe 260 passing yards on 21 completions here. So I like the over on both of those. And if you look at the game here, let me bring up my notes. I'm glad that I write everything down because I don't have to fumble around with the computer. I just fumble around with papers here. San Francisco at Jacksonville, absolutely. I think San Francisco puts a hurting on them. I think they go well over 30 total points in this one. So give me the over with Jimmy G and give me the over with Jeff Wilson, who has turned into some big-time chalk here. That's okay. You got to eat it every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. I think I like those lines. I think you get it over on both of those, 85 yards, a touchdown, a couple touchdowns. But I'm looking at another one right now. Potential shootout here. It gives me an opportunity to use a guy I'm not really going to be using too much in DFS today, and that's CeeDee Lamb. So there's a little foreshadowing. I can kind of hedge my own investments going over 6 receptions. There's no Amari Cooper today. If you think that this is going to be a game where KC is playing with a lead or it is higher scoring, it might not even have to be higher scoring for CeeDee Lamb to get over 6 receptions today. With him, Michael Gallup and Cedric Wilson kind of leading the charge. Gallup and Cedric Wilson, more of these downfield target type guys. I think CeeDee Lamb becomes the intermediate route guy. Dalton Schultz probably gets a nice opportunity today as well. I think CeeDee Lamb over 6 receptions could be a shoo-in. I think a lot of people like the Jalen Waddle line. I saw his name get mentioned over there. So I think you could look at someone like CeeDee Lamb, say over 6 receptions. And I actually feel pretty confident about that happening today. Now I'm going to check the model here, and I would imagine it's going to be close. So they have him at 8 targets, 586 yards. So I guess you could go over the receiving yards if you want. I'm going to go over there at CeeDee Lamb, 6 receptions. I feel strong about it. So that's where I am. How about you?
No, I'm with you 100%. And I'd like to think the Amari Cooper news was obviously later in the week when they put him on the reserved IR. So be careful where you go when I'm talking to the folks at watching this right now. A lot of websites haven't been updated yet. That's why you got to hang here with Team Rise or Fall. We're on top of this stuff. Updates all the time. Personally speaking, Mitch, I have CeeDee Lamb looking at a double-digit targets here. 10 targets. I'm with you. I believe he catches 7, maybe 8 passes. A little ambitious, but given the magnitude of the game here, I'm willing to go all in on Lamb over 6 receptions.
All right. That is the 2 picks. I think that's pretty sad. I was thinking about Joe Burrow here against Las Vegas. I thought this was kind of interesting. Burrow's volume, his pass volume keeps increasing, right? I mean, week in and week out, this kid's throwing the football so much more now. And he's had an interception, I believe, in all but 2 games this year. And it's not like this is anything new, right? Here's 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. Did not throw an interception. But again, this is only 32 pass attempts. Through 1 and 18, through 3 and 30, had a real good first start. But I mean, we're talking 7 of his 9 games this year, he's thrown a pick. And if you look at last year as well, it's not like he's impervious to turning the ball over. He does this. And if he has to throw the football a decent amount today against Las Vegas, since they can't get this running game going, I think Joe Burrow over a half interception could be a nice and easy one as well. I'm going to add that to this just for the fun of it, just so we can have some more ROI. And I'm going to do this pick live here. So I've got a over on Trevor Siemian, 223 yards passing, 6 receptions for CeeDee and Burrow. I'm rooting for the interception today. Sorry, my friends, if you have Burrow in DFS, I'm going to submit this baddie right here because I have 3 picks. It's a 6 times pick, and I'm going to submit it. There we go. And this one is live. If you guys want to tail this one and play it, my goodness, there you go. Again, use promo code DONUTS. If you do so, you get 100% deposit match up to $100. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy breaking that one down. Now, it gave us some time here. Again, here it is. If you want an opportunity for a free membership, I will give you about 30 seconds to hit that retweet on this. I will refresh this tweet, and I'm going to do the drawing, and then we're going to go break down game by game as fast as we can for the rest of the stream. So, appreciate y'all for sitting in there live with us. Actually, Chris, should we get everybody like 5 more minutes for this retweet? I think we should. This is fine. We have, a couple hours together. Here, let's do the Monkey Knife Fight one. People, I want to give people the opportunity to get a free membership. Honestly, that's what this comes down to. I just want more people. So anyways, you can use this Monkey Knife Fight. Well, let's just do this one. We usually do this in the second hour. We'll do them all now and then go straight DFS lineup building after, okay? So here's the Monkey Knife Fight promo. If you use promo code Donuts over here, 100% deposit match up to $100 again. And also you get the remainder. Actually, I'll give you December free. So if you use the promo code, I will give you all of December free using mysparry.com. So you'll get the 10,000 Sims betting model. You'll see all the betting grades on each game for money line, totals, spreads, props for players. And this is also for NBA, which is also live. So if you're an NBA bettor, NBA, if you do, Monkey Knife Fight and stuff, got a Monkey Knife Fight projections model, whatever you want. So it's all here for you. You guys can go crazy. Let's do some Monkey Knife Fight picks. We'll do an early slate and an afternoon slate. And it's very similar. It's just more or less on whatever the lines are. Let's do a 3-pick more or less. All right, so Josh Allen, 280.5 passing yards against Indy. This is a tough one. Indy defense real good with Darius Leonard in there. A little bit better against the run than the pass with Darius Leonard. So I think the Bills already cannot move the football on the ground. They're going to have to move the football through the air, even if it's not efficient. 280 yards seems like it is something Josh Allen can get to. When you go look at his game logs, it's not like that is not a number he normally gets to. My goodness, he's hit that in 4 out of his last 7, and when he clears it, he smashes it. So this is one of those spots I think that you're just going to see Josh Allen throwing the football 40-something times. And, last year in the divisional playoff round, I threw 324 yards against them. So Josh Allen over 280. I am there. How you feeling about that line?
Absolutely, and unfortunately, last I looked, the Indianapolis Colts stud all-pro linebacker Darius Leonard is still a game-time decision. If Darius Leonard sits out, no-brainer. Even with Darius Leonard in there, I still think it's a no-brainer. You're absolutely right. I have Allen throwing the ball 40 to 41 times here. I think over 300 yards is a gimme here. In a game where the Colts, in terms of DVP, they're 25th overall against opposing quarterbacks. Josh Allen, an absolute stud. Stone cold, top 5 guy at quarterback, top 3 probably. So give me the over in this one, and I'm not even thinking twice about it. There it is, Matthew.
All right, we got Aaron Rodgers, 270.5 passing yards against Green Bay. You've got a little bit of correlation here with these last 2 picks. I assume if you have Rodgers over 270, you're probably going to want Devontae over 297 as well. If he has over 97 yards, he has 120, 110, whatever it is. Aaron Rodgers probably had himself a pretty solid day. So I think there's some correlation in these 2 numbers being together, which makes it an interesting 3-pick parlay here. I actually am going to go more and more today. I think that, A.J. Dillon is going to be featured in the backfield. He's going to get a ton of opportunity as well, but I honestly think that they're going to put the onus of this offense moving the football on the shoulder of their former MVP, Aaron Rodgers, and Devontae Adams, the stud out there against Minnesota, who he's feasted against in his career. So I'm going over for yardage on both of them today. How are you feeling about this game?
Absolutely, and it might sound weird, but I have Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers with almost identical stat lines at the end of the games here. So, Green Bay plays in Minnesota, going to be fantastic for someone like me, who's an NFC North slappy here. But, give me Aaron Rodgers and the over, and give me Devontae Adams. If I was going to hitch my wagon to a quarterback, wide receiver stat combo, this is the one I would choose probably 9 out of 10 times. So it's good company. I mean, come on.
All right, so there we go. We got an early slate pick right there. Let's do a 4 o'clock so people can grind out the 4 o'clock games if they're playing them, the later slate. And let's make this one a little bit more simple here. Instead of a 3-pick, let's do a 2-pick. Then we just go 1-on-1. Actually, let's talk about this right now. So we've got Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott. I think this is going to be a fun one. I think DFS-wise, it's going to be certainly going to be popular. You're going to see a ton of stacks and tournaments. You're going to see cash games on probably both of these games as well. Passing yards, 299.5 for Mahomes and 290 for Dak Prescott. When we look at this game specifically, too, I'm looking at the NFL Study Hub. I'm looking at the game flow, passing yards per game. It's not like these 2 defenses are as bad as they were in the beginning of the season. Both Dallas and KC were allowing 300 yards passing for the first half of the year. It was wild. Both defenses have really buckled down as of late, though, to all the way to a point where they're both middle of the road now. I mean, KC just 3 weeks ago against Washington was allowing 296 yards passing per game. I remember that distinctly because I remember thinking, oh, here we go. We've got a blow-up spot for Heineke. And that one just was an absolute dud. And since then, I believe that was week 8, KC all the way down here, 258 yards passing per game. Dallas right next to them, 252 yards passing per game. And maybe their beginning season against, Tom Brady giving up 450-something yards passing that week 1 really skewed the data for a while. But both these defenses are playing better. These offenses are, I think, to an extent, still looking for their identities. One week you get Dak throwing the ball 40-plus times, and the next you have Zeke running the ball 20-plus times. And I'm not entirely sure if they're searching for their identity or they're just going with whatever the defense gives them each week. But I feel like you don't know exactly what you're going to get out of this offense each and every week. And I think for DFS purposes, I'm trying to leverage this situation today. I'm looking at both running games, but for betting purposes, I think there is probably a higher probability of both of these lines hitting more, to be honest. But I think for DFS perspective, I'm doing the opposite. I'm probably trying to leverage them and use their running games on both teams. How are you looking at this situation today as far as the passing games go?
Yeah, shout out to CG. He's the Kansas City fan, and hopefully he's in the chat. We know he's around. He's always around. But
he's a Browns fan.
Yeah,
diehard.
Who was I thought there was a coach here with the website who's a big Kansas City fan. Remember those weeks early on? I bet against Tyreek Hill and I was getting put down in the chat. I could have swore it was CG, but I'll move on here. I could see this game realistically having 1,000 total yards of offense in this one. I don't even think that's wild to say here. So I have both definitely over. I have Mahomes attempting I'm looking at least 42 to 43 attempts for 315. I think that's Patrick Mahomes' floor today is a 300-yard passing game. And in terms of Dak Prescott, same thing. I think Dak is just a little bit behind Mahomes in terms of total yardage at the end of this game, but you're still looking at 305, 310 or something for Dak Prescott. And again, I have both quarterbacks throwing the ball about 40 times. As I mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, couple more, and Dak Prescott, boom, right on the nose with 40 attempts in this one. So this game is going to be fantastic. I'm glad it's an afternoon game. After the 1 p.m. games, we can settle down, we can get some lunch, dinner, whatever you want to do, and just turn your phone off, turn the computer, and just relax and watch this game. It's going to be fantastic, and I'm glad you brought this one up because, again, much like everybody else, I'm going to have a ton of skin in this one, and it all starts with the quarterbacks here, Mitch. Over.
Yeah, looking at the MySprayer.com 10,000 Sims model. So the game was simulated 10,000 times for the betting line, for the spread, for the total. And then what happens is we take all of the data that was inside the betting model and we just spew it onto the page and we're saying, hey, here's the average amount of yards that based on the 10,000 Sims that Mahomes had thrown in. So, well, he had 309. So if you're using the model, you would go more than 299. And if you're using the model, Dak had more than 290 at 297. So I think there's, a slight edge. Those aren't significant edges over what these lines are slightly sharper than some of the other places I've looked at. So I'm going more and more for the afternoon games because I'm probably doing the opposite in DFS. This also hedges my investments a little bit today. I can have some fun no matter what. If it doesn't go well in DFS, well, I've got at least the Monkey Knife Fight pick to look forward to. Again, grab that link in chat. And if you do that and use promo code DONUTS, you get up to 100% deposit match up to $100. And I'll give you a free December of the Sparry website. So, all right, my friends, here we go. Giving away a free membership. Going to grab this link and we're going to throw it in this retweet picker I've got.
Do we have a drum roll sound effect here? Or
do you want it, dude? Give me a drum roll. I'm going to be doing it right here. You can see it live. It's crazy to me. We've got 70 watching and only 56 people actually did the retweet. How bizarre is that? I mean, 14 people totally missed out on a chance at a free month. And this applies to current members. You can be a current member and have an opportunity here to just win your next month free. So here we go. We're going to draw it. 2 names, these 2 people. Make sure you just DM me on Twitter and I'll take care of you getting the hookup for the free membership. And by the way, I wanted to say this: if you tuned in for this, I'm doing a free membership giveaway on Monday, but that is only a give back. So what that means is you tune in at the 1:00 live stream and I will be giving away a free membership here on YouTube, but it's only to current Rise or Fall members. So if you're a current member, you have an opportunity to win another free membership on Monday. That is not going to be done through Twitter. That is done through my own thing. We also have 2 free memberships we're giving away to current members through the membership giveaway this month, where the highest standings placement in the nickel and the mini max on both DraftKings and FanDuel over the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for NBA, they are getting a free membership as well. So we're giving out 5 this weekend. It's pretty wild. It's been a fun time. These 2 can be anybody. They don't have to be current members. So good luck. All right, we've got Jack Humphrey, who I know is a member because he talks in our Discord often. I think I recognize the name Kevin McAfee. I think both these guys might be current members. So congratulations, Jack and Kevin. Make sure you send me a DM on Twitter, and I'll get you your hookup code, and you guys will have yourself a free membership of TeamRiserFall.com. If you're already a current member, you just get a free month coming up. So congrats. Let's move on to DFS, baby. If you are not a member and you want a chance at the freebie tomorrow, make sure you sign up today right here using that link. And let's go, man. I think we talked a little bit of DFS today. We certainly were breaking down a little bit at a time as we got going. So let's dive in full go. I'm going to start building right here in Yahoo, DraftKings, and in FanDuel as we're talking about these games. If you missed it at the top of the hour, that's how we're going to do this stream today. A little bit different than normal. Let's go. Arizona, Seattle. Looks like Kyler Murray probably not going to be playing today, unfortunately. Give us a third game of Colt McCoy, who I believe is dealing with a pectoral strain. So, not an ideal scenario for Arizona traveling into Seattle, and a team that just got their butts kicked last week. Russell Wilson returned, looked terrible. Maybe this is a bounce back spot for them, a get right game for this offense, in which case, what are you doing with Metcalf? What are you doing with Lockett? What are you doing with Russell Wilson? And do you have anybody on the Arizona side?
Well, it's weird that you mentioned that. I mean, yes and no. In this one, I've made no secret about how I build in terms of DFS. My foundation are the Vegas lines here, and using my Sparry, run simulations and see what we get here, and then I kind of branch out from there. In this one, I have Arizona. I know it's not a popular term, but mollywop or wipe the floor with Seattle here, but Arizona in Seattle, I just think that Arizona hangs 30 plus points in comparison to Seattle's. Maybe I think 14 points for Seattle today would be a little ambitious. I think that even that is a little bit too much. So to me, I'm absolutely stacking the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not even paying any attention to the Seattle Seahawks in this one. You look at Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, their price tags reflects. I mean, look, DK Metcalf $7,500 on FanDuel, Lockett only $6,800. I want nothing to do with the Seattle Seahawks, and that's not like me. I can pull a gem out of anything. I can spin a negative into a positive any which way here, and I just don't see it for the Seattle Seahawks this afternoon here. So to me, it's going to be all about James Conner. That's where you're going to want to be. $7,200 on FanDuel. On DraftKings, Conner only $6,100. In Seattle, they're very leaky in terms of their run defense. They're actually, in terms of DVP, they're 31st overall. I mean, only 32 teams in the league. I always say that. It's not even really a joke. People probably sick of me saying that, but to me, it's all about James Conner here. And when you look at what James Conner has done, it's kind of been a resurgence. We waited, and now this guy is seeing double-digit carries, and he's been very efficient with those. Actually, not as efficient as we'd like, 3.9 yards a carry here. But again, James Conner, I have him for around 15, 16 carries. You're looking at an even 70, 75 yards here. I think he finds the end zone and the sweet spot here, especially on DraftKings. I'm projecting James Conner 4, maybe 5 receptions in this one for an additional 30, 35 yards here. So James Conner this afternoon in Seattle will do it all. To be fair with you, to anybody that's watching this, and even you, Mitch, I would not be against just a James Conner one-off in this one. Colt McCoy, it is what it is, but I did tell you Arizona's going to score 30-plus points. It's going to come from somewhere. I think a large portion of that, I know it's wild, will come from James Conner. Who's to say Conner doesn't find the end zone twice in this one? So give me all the James Conner I can handle in this one. And the rest, it's just, it is what it is. You know, look at the wide receivers, Kirk, A.J. Green, Rondale Moore. I would sprinkle a little bit of Kirk and Rondale Moore in my lineups, but to me, the play here is James Conner, and I'm moving on.
Okay. Well, I think the beauty of DFS is, we can all approach each and every slate differently. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think this is actually an interesting spot, not as far as doing game stacks with your quarterbacks. I actually really, really like the opportunity of doing a non-quarterback game stack. What that would be is like a secondary stack within your lineup. So you could run out maybe a Josh Allen lineup that's a smaller, maybe just a Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs type lineup. And then you don't need Michael Pittman or one of these other guys on the other side. You can simply just get more correlation in your lineup by using players from another game. So you could do something like James Conner, and I actually have a fair amount of interest in both Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. We know they have these crazy high ceilings. Lockett goes absolutely nuclear, like 4 times per season, goes silent otherwise. First 2 games just completely popped off. Russell Wilson gets hurt in week 5, I believe, or week 4, and he just falls off the map. Danger Russ is back, man, and he had 8 targets last week. They got blanked 17-0 at Green Bay. They're home today. You're getting home Lockett, home Danger Russ, and you're getting a possible bounce back opportunity. I think DK Metcalf maybe gets the attention first and foremost against Arizona. And if that does happen, I actually like Tyler Lockett quite a bit at 6K. I think you can use DK Metcalf more on FanDuel, I believe, at 7.5K. I like that price tag over there. Let's see what this would look like. So if I went James Conner, 7.2, we're talking touchdown equity over here. That's what matters the most. So I got the touchdown equity guys here, a guy who can score multiple touchdowns in DK Metcalf, a guy who we've seen score multiple touchdowns, 3 times this year? 1, 2, 3, 4 times this year. My goodness, he scored a touchdown in 7 out of 8 games. That's just wild to see James Conner doing this. And here we go. So you've got a Conner and Metcalf touchdown type secondary correlative stack here on FanDuel and on Draftkings. Give me all the upside in the world. Tyler Lockett, who, would anybody be shocked? 8 for 150 and 2 scores, something crazy, 6 catches, 130 and 2 scores. I could totally see that happen today. I like Conner even if Murray is out. Seattle hasn't been able to stop the run too much this week, Aaron. Good question. So that's an interesting secondary correlation to me. I don't think it's a game stack where I'm looking at using the quarterbacks, but like a secondary pieces, absolutely. Let's see what their prices are on Yahoo as well. So we've got running backs. Connor's all the way up at 31. That's not too appealing to me at all. Tyler Lockett, $21. Metcalf, 27. Sure, I think both of those are slightly in play there. But James Conner, $31. My goodness, they've got him up there. So a stack like that, I mean, you're paying a premium. You're basically paying for him and saying you have to hit your ceiling, James Conner, to provide value. Not really the play that I'm drawn to each and every week. Let's move on. Baltimore, Chicago. Golly, there's so much up in the air here. We've got Lamar Jackson, 50-50 opportunity for him to play today. I'm not entirely sure that inspires confidence in even using a guy like Rashad Bateman, who, was totally appealing once Marquise Brown. I believe he either got ruled out or he got moved closer to out yesterday. I saw one of the tweets. It's hard for me on Sunday morning. I'm kind of catching up on news as I do daily NBA content. That's you really got to keep up to speed with all the NBA news and the NFL stuff. I just read into Sunday morning, and mostly NFL's ownerships, its upsides, its probabilities, and knowing the news is kind of all baked into the projections anyways. I don't really need to know it per se, but for the live show, I better, I suppose. With Marquise Brown being out, Rashad Bateman, lock and load, cash, plug and play today if Lamar Jackson's in. But if Lamar Jackson's out, we're going to get Trace McSorley at quarterback, who we saw a fair amount of over the last couple of years during the preseason, and he runs the football a lot. He is not somebody who you can really lean on to throw the football accurately for 35 times. I think this game becomes, ground and pound type game on both sides of the football. I think you end up looking at David Montgomery as a better play too if Lamar Jackson is out. So I think if Jackson is out, you've got Montgomery here at 5'5", 6'8" on FanDuel, 5'5" on Draftkings, becomes a tremendous play, I believe. Darnell Mooney, I was interested in. I don't know how much I want him on FanDuel at 6K, but he's 5'2" on Draftkings, and I'm not entirely sure where you are in this game, but I think a lot of it just is entirely contingent on Lamar Jackson being active for a lot of people. So where are you in this one?
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a strange thing. They say he's been battling an illness all week, and they didn't say it until they just
second or third game, isn't it?
Yeah, and
like
they
a
just
non-COVID sickness.
Yeah, out of nowhere, I believe it was Thursday, he was added to the injury report.
Tough
And I feel like they tried to kind of sweep that under the rug. And you know how most of us are. We look for every little bit of news, as you were just saying here. So to me, with or without Lamar Jackson, the move for me in GPPs is the Chicago Bears here. Okay. I mentioned this trio of Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet in bottom of the barrel. And I've been doubling down every day this week on social media, sharing screenshots of what I wrote, bottom of the barrel, here right at Team Rise or Fall. And personally speaking, when you look at what Baltimore is doing or lack thereof on defense, Justin Fields, their DVP's 23rd overall against defending opposing quarterbacks, Baltimore that is. Mooney seems to be the apple of Justin Fields' eye, and I don't believe Allen Robinson is going to play this week, which is kind of tough here. Last time out, he showed some promise, he's doing well, and then this week he's out here. And then Cole Kmet, the Baltimore Ravens, they're 30th overall against opposing tight ends here. I just see a case here where is it finally time? I mentioned this weeks ago, probably week 2, week 3, when Justin Fields was given the lion's share, was named the starter. And I know I said it specifically on this broadcast like 5-6 weeks ago. Are they finally going to let Justin Fields loose? Now, the kid, he's had back-to-back 2 very good games. He moves out of the pocket. He's making good decisions here. And again, Baltimore, that's where you can hit them the hardest. That's where you can get over on them, is in the passing game here. So I love the idea of Fields, Mooney, and Kmet in some sort of trio stack in this one. And again, they're in Chicago. Chicago's getting the points here. So that tells kind of paints a picture where people think this game is going to go. But again, it's so strange not knowing what the heck is going to go on with Lamar Jackson. Either way, I love the idea of that trio of Chicago Bears stacks in this one, Mitch.
Okay. I like the individual pieces personally. Justin Fields, I'm just not sure the passing volume is there. And usually if the passing volume is not there, I'm looking for the rushing volume. And I guess we kind of have that scenario here where, he might not chuck the football as much as, some of the other quarterbacks out there, but he might tuck it and run it a fair amount, which will give you that extra floor. It's kind of like the Philadelphia situation where Jalen Hurts, but unfortunately, he's just not throwing the football as much as Hurts does, where Hurts will throw the football, these random 34, 37 times. And we've seen Jalen Hurts, his value plummet fantasy-wise, even though he's running it a bunch, because now he's only thrown the football 23, 17, 14 times over the last 3 games. It's just been, a situation here where if he's not going to throw the football a ton, does he get enough fantasy points? That is my only concern on Justin Fields. I like the individual pieces. I like Cole Kmet. I like Darnell Mooney, especially on DraftKings. And, it's hard not to like Montgomery at 5'5". I think that he could be that featured guy again, getting 20-plus touches as he had done in week 2 and in week 4. And narrowly missed it in week 1 with 17. And he had 12 touches in week 3. So this is a guy, I think, with 20-plus upside at 5'5". I think he's tremendous opportunity here. And I like that more so for like small field tournaments and for cash games. I'm not entirely sure I want any of those guys on FanDuel. I just don't know if I can invest in guys. I'm not entirely sure if they can score the touchdowns. Are you more interested in these guys on a certain site today? than another one, or do you like them across the board? You're looking at them everywhere.
Well, personally speaking, I would prefer them on DraftKings here. And if you look
Okay.
at even Yahoo, Fields is $21 on Yahoo here, and then when you look at Darnell Mooney, only 5,200 on DraftKings, only I believe $15 on Yahoo here. So to me, exactly what you said on FanDuel. Don't know if I want to pull the trigger there based on touchdown equity. That phrase you've coined many times here, but to me, the Chicago Bears stack is a full go on DraftKings and Yahoo here.
I tell you what, brother. Holy smokes. I love the prices on Yahoo. Absolutely love them. Like for each of them, they look tremendous. Justin Fields at $21. Listen, I mean, if he does get up there again, 32, 27, 29, 27 pass attempts, and he is tucking the ball 6+ times in these last 4 games, his scoring floor is elevated now that they are starting to put a little bit more onus on his shoulders. And now I believe you kind of got this perfect storm for him. And we're probably a terrible phrasing for what this analogy is here, but you finally have a running game returning, a solid running back, and you now are allowing him to kind of spread his wings a little bit, so to speak. So not only is the offense potentially going to be more efficient, but they're now giving him more opportunity to score points. If he can throw the ball 28, 29 times today and run it 8 times with David Montgomery, I think you could be looking at an 18 to 22 point floor, which would be tremendous at $21. And what you said, golly, look at the pricing here. Darnell Mooney at $15 here is maybe the only guy we can trust in this passing offense. That's a tremendous price tag on Yahoo for wide receivers on a site where it's a half point per reception. And then David Montgomery at $23 also in play. Goodness gracious, that's a great price tag at running back. So I do like them on Yahoo. That's a nice pick.
And really quick, if you look at Cole Kmet here, I don't want to, let him get lost in the shuffle here. On FanDuel, past that. On DraftKings, he's only $3,400, and then on Yahoo, Cole Kmet only $15. And in bottom of the barrel, I always give the most expensive player per position to kind of help put it in perspective. Travis Kelce, obviously in a sweet matchup, $30. So you can get Cole Kmet at half the price at $15 in such a sweet matchup. It's all green. It's pluses across the screen. $15 for Cole Kmet. And look, personally, I have Cole Kmet. You're looking at about 5-6 targets would be unbelievably sweet. So let's just call it 5 targets, 3, maybe 4 receptions, 40 to 45 yards, which is already good enough at his price tag. You're looking at a value here. And if Cole Kmet can find the end zone today against the 30th ranked overall defense against tight ends, you're gravy here with Cole Kmet. So that's kind of what I was getting at. The Chicago Bears, that trio stack on DraftKings and Yahoo. Sign me up. To be honest with you, Mitch, it's already booked.
Nice, dude. I like that. 3.4K Cole Kmet is a really good pick. In fact, in my Donuts playbook on the website, that's a premium strategy piece where I give my exact strategy for week by week and what I am going to be doing, how I'm going to be approaching the slate. Cole Kmet was one of, I believe, my only 3 tight ends I mentioned in the Donuts playbook for week 11. So I'm there. I might not be spouting it too much here on the stream here, but he is one of my only 3, I believe, on DK. Now, someone posted like, yo, Hub is updated, baby. I love it. I love when people do that for me. Here's how he knew that. In our Discord, our members Discord, we've got over 1,000 members here. It's crazy. It's just been live for, 2 months since I deleted the first one.
Since you melted down, yeah.
Yeah, what a bonehead move that was on my part. But anyways, the alerts channel pops off. It says, bang, NFL Study Hub is updated. Now, all of our tools, our content, everything on the site, it is routinely updated, my friends, often updated, and it sometimes just doesn't get alerted. But what we try to do is alert when the crucial times come. So NBA pre-lock, it's 6:35 or something. Yeah, we did it. We just ran another update because, Joel Embiid is out and Tobias Harris is in. And all of a sudden, we've got to update it. We want our members to know that. So if you're in our Discord, to be honest, I'm going to tell you this now. If you right-click on the Discord logo, you can actually mute the channel. You can mute the server. I think that's a fine idea. There's a lot of messages that go on, a lot of tags and alerts. You can mute the entire thing. And then what you do, so you don't get these red numbers pop up, like 87 of them each week, you just go to the one channel, the alerts, mute channel, and you would turn it back on. Okay. So if you only want to have alerts unmuted and then leave the rest muted, you go ahead and do that. since I don't, I can look at this and be like, okay, oh, look at this. So here's the tag that happened. What time was it? It happened 10 minutes ago. It said took down the piggy bank and fadeaway last night. Projections have been crushing it. He actually won it the other day as well. This guy has won this twice, playing the quarter and the nickel on FanDuel. He's won it twice this week. He joined, I believe, on Monday, won on Tuesday, and again won last night on Saturday. Congratulations, my friend. I love seeing that. I actually saw your name up there last night, and before I went to bed, and I said to myself, well, I found out who won the free membership, because nobody's going to score higher in first place. You might tie with somebody tonight, but M. Cox here, looks like you can sleep safely and soundly tonight, knowing that you have won yourself a free Team Res or Fall membership for being first in the FanDuel competition. So still the DraftKings competition's out there on the Minimax. Congratulations, my man. Congrats. And let's see, I can get more alerts. Oh, looks like Sparry was updated at 9:19. Same thing. So you guys can get your alerts right here in Discord. Again, you can mute the entire server and then leave the alerts channel unmuted. I think that's a fair way to go about doing things.
Mitch,
Go ahead, bro.
Not to cut you, I've made no secret. I tell everybody I'm so open and honest with you, and I know I'm not the only one here. I take notes while you're talking. When we're broadcasting, I'm writing everything down. I look at the comments, I write it down. But what I wanted to mention here is there's two types of folks. You'll look at someone's phone and they have 9,500 emails, and the little red thing has popped up. They have 17 missed calls and 400 text messages. That stuff drives me nuts. So honestly, I just wrote down how to mute the channels. I'm in there a lot and I talk to people, but every time I go to Discord and it says 17 NASCAR messages, it drives me nuts. And so I just go, I click each channel and I scroll through really fast just to get rid of the red numbers of how many messages. So to mute the channel, that would alleviate a lot of my silly OCD kind of stress here. So that's a great move.
Brother, I'm right there with you. Look at my channels. See how these are gray?
They're
clean. You can tell that they're grayed out. That means I've muted them. Like MLB, I'm not going in there anymore. So I right-clicked on the channel, and I muted it. So you can see right here it says unmute. So if you click on alerts, you can mute until you turn back on. This is the last channel you want to mute, though. The alert channel, you need those alerts. That is going to tell you, and I'm going to unmute it now. That's going to tell you when, tools are updated and when there's, like this morning, man. I mean, shoot, we have 80-something people watching. There should have been 80-plus retweets on this morning. I was giving away 2 free memberships to people who retweeted that tweet. That was it. That's all you had to do. 1,000 members in Discord and only, 60-something retweets. People aren't paying attention to the proper channels, and I don't think that's because they don't want to. I think it's probably fairly similar to what you're saying, Beastie. They're like, no. Sometimes Discord's just overwhelming. Listen, it's only going to get more overwhelming over the years as our membership grows from 1,000 to 2,000 to 20,000, hopefully, So, and if that happens, goodness gracious, there's going to be a lot of content being dropped and posted and alerted and announced and giveaways and contests. And, that's what Discord's going to be. It's a massive community. It's only growing day by day. So if you're in here, go ahead, mute the entire thing and unmute the alert channel. And I think a lot of you will enjoy your experience. All right, let's keep on going here. We are on to Cincinnati, and I can see this got updated at 9:30. Cincinnati and Las Vegas. Beastie, you want to talk about this DFS angle first, and then I'll kind of show the pricing while you're talking about it?
Yeah, this game it's very interesting to me. Normally, most weeks as DFS players or sports bettors, just as human beings, we can't help but to just gravitate towards certain games for whatever reason it is. I like the color jerseys, or I like the DVP matchup. This game to me is very interesting. I think you look at it, I believe the over-under opened at 49, which is fantastic. I believe second or third overall in terms of highest over-under in Week 11. Obviously, Dallas at Kansas City has everybody beat by far, but this one's been bumped up now to 50.5 total points in the over-under. Again, paints a nice picture in a foundation of what we're trying to do here. So you look at it, Vegas, they're at home, but they're still the underdog. They're getting 1.5 in this one. And I know you mentioned Joe Burrow in the beginning of the broadcast from an underdog perspective in terms of an interception here. Regardless, I love Joe Burrow this afternoon with the full complement of Mixon and Chase and Higgins here. I even mentioned CJ Uzomah in bottom of the barrel. CJ Uzomah, $5,200 on FanDuel, $3,500 on DraftKings, only $17 bucks on Yahoo in terms of tight ends here. But I also mentioned, I mean, just one of those games where I want any and all pieces here, and I'm like excited like a kid on Christmas morning, because as I'm talking now live on air, I'm processing this all in my head, trying to figure out my best plan of action personally and professionally to everybody that's watching it now. Derek Carr, again, in another great spot, $5,900 on DraftKings. Derek Carr, only $7,200 on FanDuel here. But recently, we've seen the Las Vegas Raiders. They're playing well, but what I found the most beneficial here, the Raiders, they've started to push the issue here in terms of pace of play and getting the ball down the field. Is Josh Jacobs back as kind of a stud workhorse back? Can we expect 18 or 20 plus carries in this one? I hesitate that many carries, but I could see Josh Jacobs easily getting to 15 total carries in this one. Kenyon Drake, their DVP, 28th overall in terms of Cincinnati against opposing wide receivers here. There's just no way around the fact that I love the idea of Derek Carr and Hunter Renfrow, who is only $6,100 on FanDuel. Hunter Renfrow, $5,800 on DraftKings. He is the wide receiver one in that offense for the time being, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Hunter Renfrow is just that all-around, complete kind of wide receiver. He'll do anything you ask of him, and it shows on the field in terms of targets, receptions. Had a nice touchdown catch in the back of the end zone last time out here. So to me, full game stack. I'm running with it in this one. Burrow, Mixon, even, Jamar Chase, if you want to throw in CJ Uzma. But on the other side of things, Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, and I do firmly believe Bryan Edwards is a fantastic play this afternoon too. $5,500 on FanDuel, only $4,100 on DraftKings here. Full point PPR on DraftKings. Look, Bryan Edwards isn't going to get you 8 total receptions, not going to get 10 targets, but this kid, yeah, look at him. This guy, at least I think his floor would be 4 or 5 targets, especially now. He's kind of come on strong, and as I've said, the Raiders and Derek Carr have started to kind of push the ball down the field here. So I would not be shocked to see Derek Carr, Hunter Renfrow, and Bryan Edwards have some sort of trio here where it's like, oh my God, they finished in the top 5 at the end of the day in terms of hitting value on all formats in this one, Mitch.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of pieces to like from this game. It's definitely a game stackable as well. It's not one of those games where it's like, I just want this piece, I want that piece, I only want them on this side, I only want this guy on that side. And I think, to be honest, to be fair to everyone involved in this game, listen, we got a 50.5 point total, a 1-point spread. It's going to be a competitive and fairly high scoring game. Often we see in these DFS contests, it's the secondary or the tertiary game that people are targeting on the week that is the one that pops off. It's not the super popular Dallas and KC. You have way too much ownership on a game like that. And in large field tournaments, we're talking like a Millie Maker or something where you've got a bunch of players, 15, 20, 25% owned. You're not getting the leverage you need against several 100,000 people, 206,000, 207,119 other lineups. You have to beat them out by being slightly different. It doesn't mean you have to be off the wall. You're making, a Joe Flacco stack to win the Millie. You don't have to get so silly like that, but maybe just target the tertiary popular plays, the T. Higgins, the Tyler Boyds, the Jamar Chase, who, these guys might be just weirdly priced. It's the awkward pricing that makes them suboptimal when you've got Jamar Chase priced right next to Stephon Diggs, and Jamar Chase's ownership is 8% and Diggs is 14%. You have an opportunity there where you're just getting small edges over the public, small edges over the field in the tournament, but you're still using a really good play. It doesn't mean you have to use a bunch of terrible plays just to be different. Now, here's one of them I really like on FanDuel specifically, and it's because of that touchdown equity. I like to use that term, that phrase here. On Joe Mixon at 7.6K, a guy who continues to score touchdowns, whether it's through the air, 2 out of his last 4 games, or on the ground, 5 out of his last 6. The guy scores touchdowns, he scores points, and I think this has an opportunity of being a really, really solid game to target in many ways, shapes, or forms. Unfortunately for him on FanDuel, he's priced awkwardly at 7.6, and on DraftKings, 7.6, even more awkward. But fortunately for us, we can embrace that volatility. We can take hold of a weird price tag like that, where people are like, no, thank you. I'm going to pay maybe 800 more bucks for Delvin Cook, 1,000 more for Zeke. They want Nick Chubb at 9. McCaffrey's back, baby, 10K. And if they're not doing that, they're skipping this price range. Even a guy like James Conner, who continues to score touchdowns, you can use these two. I mean, would you be shocked if they scored 4 combined? Listen, it's not like it hasn't happened. Look at the last 3 weeks. These guys are scoring that. So you've got here, just 2 weeks ago, they scored 4 together. So you have that opportunity where you can slam these guys in here when people are skipping this range, right? Because you know why? Here's A.J. Dillon, 7K, much more popular. David Montgomery, probably more popular. Mark Ingram, 6'8", probably more popular. Antonio Gibson, 6'7". Yeah, he'll probably be popular. He had 24 carries last week, right? So you're going to have these guys who, Darrell Williams, 6'3", had 20-something carries last week, right? 22 touches 2 weeks ago, 20 touches last week. I forget the 9 catches. So it's that, people are going to be targeting these easier, more comfortable plays. And why I mentioned awkward pricing, I want those uncomfortable plays in my lineup. Those are the ones that win you the big tournaments. James Conner, Joe Mixon, kind of where I want to start my FanDuel lineups today. I like both of them significantly over there for their touchdown equity. I'm going to move on to the next game. Leave it at that. Dallas and, I think I just clicked something. Dallas and KC. Well, here we go, my friend. You let off top of the show saying you're going to have a lot of skin in the game here. Let's hear some of your scenarios, and I want you to be specific about where you're looking at stacking these players. If it's Draftkings, if it's FanDuel, if it's Yahoo, where's the pricing you like the most? I'll flip back and forth between the sites, and I'll kind of look at what those look like if I were to be targeting those players on those sites, my friend.
Yeah, I could do that. Absolutely. No harm in that one. So you look at this game, I believe it opened at 56 total points in terms of the over-under. It dropped down a half a point, still at 55.5. Still by far and away the highest over-under on the slate. Dallas is the underdog here. They're getting 2.5 points, rightfully so, in Arrowhead, playing in Kansas City. Going to be cold, going to be crispy. Perfect kind of football weather here. In terms of
cold and crispy.
Cold and crispy. The pads will be popping. You saw it a lot yesterday in terms of college football. It's November 21st here. This is the week that I start to get even more excited. You get that warm and fuzzy feeling about football, especially if you're playing outside. Those Lambeau games where it's 35 below. Kansas City gets cold. Not that cold in Green Bay, but it's still cold enough. You can see the players' breaths while they're on the field and they're going around. Just a quick note. I believe Clyde Edwards-Helaire was activated. Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be playing in this one. How much does he see? Right before we went live, saw a tweet, and even went on Facebook. It was a poll. Who do I start today? Is it Clyde Edwards-Helaire or D. Williams here? We'll get to that, and I'll leave it alone here. But from a DFS perspective, I mentioned it a lot. I kind of made it up on my own a few weeks ago, and I put it pen to paper, and I published that silly method that I mentioned to you. I don't even remember how you took it or how you even think about it. Pivoting from players in the same game to other players in the same game here. Now look, without Amari Cooper, with him being inactive, probably will miss Thanksgiving Day game too. He's on the COVID IR. That's a few days away. We're here right now, Sunday the 21st here. So I know a lot of folks, CeeDee Lamb's going to be a huge play. I know you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, you're kind of, I don't know about CeeDee Lamb, given the target share, very much in play. But is there any money to be made with CeeDee Lamb if he's so chalky, if everybody's on him? You get those fantasy buzzwords thrown around where CeeDee Lamb, he's chalky, aka in air quotes, he's a free square. I love the idea of that everybody's jumping on board with Michael Gallup. I'll take it a step further and I'll pivot to Cedric Wilson in this one. $4,900 on FanDuel. Wilson only $3,200 on DraftKings. This guy, I would imagine, I'm not plugged into the Dallas Cowboys organization. I don't talk to anybody there, but they seem to like Cedric Wilson. They let him throw the ball every once in a while, some weird flea flicker, some weird play, and he can throw the ball. That just goes to show you that the coaching staff and the offensive coordinator trust him. I love the idea of Cedric Wilson, as I said, and again, I would have no issue with Michael Gallup as well. Dalton Schultz, huge bump. Kansas City is 26th overall in terms of defending opposing tight ends here. So to me, aside from, the chalk plays, we all know that, and Mitch, I'm sure you're aware, I'm just predisposed from thinking from a bottom of the barrel, like those low owned, those guys that nobody's talking about that can help your lineup pop. And look, people talking about Gallup and Wilson, but I'm still on that train. So in terms of Dallas, give me Gallup, Wilson, and Dalton Schultz. On the Kansas City side of things, I mean, there's no way around Patrick Mahomes. 5 touchdowns last game out. He's back and better than ever. I look like a fool in my single game DFS video not too long ago when I said, you know what, I might fade Patrick Mahomes. He put 5 touchdowns on the board right down my throat. Looked foolish. No way around Patrick Mahomes this afternoon. Obviously, he is, aside from Josh Allen, he's the second most expensive quarterback here. I'm fully fading Clyde Edwards-Helaire, excuse me. It's just not enough there for me. And even when he is active, I've said it a million times. We've heard other people talk about this. The Kansas City running back, the position is not that important to them. They use it just as a tool. I mean, maybe move the ball a little bit, but their game plan always, to me, is throw the ball down the field, push the envelope here. So you got to look at a guy like Tyreek Hill, always, very highly owned, most expensive wide receiver on both formats today. $8,500 on FanDuel, $8,200 on Draftkings. I would not be shocked to see that combo of Mahomes and Tyreek Hill to go back to back, have a 2-touchdown game, for Tyreek Hill here. But to me, I love the idea of Byron Pringle in this one. Someone tweeted that out not too long ago. I believe it was David Mendelson mentioned, this is going to be a Byron Pringle week. And I looked into it. He's third on the team in terms of targets. It goes Tyreek Hill, then it goes Travis Kelce, and then Byron Pringle has more targets than I thought. I'm just as shocked saying that as you are hearing it here. So Byron Pringle, let me look up his price. $5,300 on FanDuel. Only $3,400 on DraftKings. Such a sweet spot on DraftKings here. And again, I'm pivoting from players in the same game to players in the same game. So to me, all about Gallup, Wilson, Schultz, Byron Pringle. And I wouldn't be, shocked if Darrell Williams made his way into my lineups. Only $5,400 on DraftKings. And then on FanDuel, D-Will, $6,300. A little bit too pricey for me on FanDuel. Touchdown equity, we know all that. But again, I do firmly believe he finds the end zone. So what's it matter for both sides here? This game is going to be fantastic. As I said, at the time it kicks off, I'm going to be a ghost. I'm going to be watching this game. I think we're looking at like 75 to 80 total points scored in this one. So you're looking at around like a 35 to 34, 35, 31 kind of final score in this one. So yeah, I'm stacking the secondary players in this one, and I'm not looking back here, Mitch.
And so if you had to decide between Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes across the board here, FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo, are you on either of them more than the other for specific stacks, or do you like one of them on one side, one on the other? I mean, where are you looking to play these guys? Well,
I would prefer, of the two, I mean, you really can't go wrong, but I would prefer Patrick Mahomes. And if you look at his price tag across the board here, on FanDuel, Pat Mahomes, $8,300. And then on DraftKings, he's $7,600. And I would imagine, I don't have it in front of me, but I would imagine on Yahoo, he's probably right around $40.
$36 today.
$36. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So Patrick Mahomes, obviously a play across the board here. And I'm going to give the nod to him just based on, you're looking at probably 10 to 15 more passing yards, and you're looking at probably 10 to 12 more rushing yards in this one. And that's the kind of spot you have to look at from a DFS perspective or a seasonal fantasy football perspective. Dak Prescott, only around, I think he doesn't even have 100 total rushing yards so far this season. Rightfully so. Nasty ankle injury. They're slow playing it. And hopefully, I know Dak will get back to that, but as it stands right now, I would prefer Patrick Mahomes just based on the rushing yards. I could see Pat Mahomes throwing 2 touchdowns and finding the end zone once or twice here. So to me, I'm all about Patrick Mahomes, but it's close. I mean, I wouldn't fault anyone either way here. So to me, I'm going Patrick Mahomes on FanDuel based on the touchdown equity. People are probably going to get sick of hearing that. But again, on DraftKings, maybe we lean towards Dak Prescott just from throwing the ball and a couple more rushing yards, obviously, for Pat Mahomes. But to me, that's how I'm looking at it.
So I'm going to be a little bit different, I think, in this game than you are. I'm a little concerned about ownership in this game, and I like enough spots around today's slate where I'm actually intrigued on using other teams, other players. And I think that other games here have the opportunity to pop off as well. I think back about week 2 against the Chargers. That game was a massive total. I mean, both teams, Chargers scored like 40 points week 1. Cowboys scored like 40 in week 1 against Tampa. And, week 2, the total was like 58 points. And everyone's like, oh, Justin Herbert and, Dak Prescott is going to go nuclear, target the passing games every year, blah, 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 blah. And I remember in my Donuts playbook saying, just leverage that. Just too high ownership across the board. Go with Zeke Elliott, go with Eckler, and just hope that, those guys gobble up the fancy points. Maybe they take the air out of the football a little bit with solid rushing games. Not entirely sure KC is going to have that one running back you can target. I was on Darrell Williams, of course, in the beginning of the week, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire potentially being active today, I believe. I'm not sure what that's going to do to the backfield. I still think we get the majority of the touches with Darrell Williams back there. And I think they'll just want to make sure they kind of bring CEH along slowly. And it's not like he was super, super targeted at the beginning of the year anyway. So I think that, he'll probably get the lion's share of the snaps today, 60% or so for Darrell Williams. But on the Dallas side, I want some Zeke, and just looking at the ownership too. We've got Dak at 6% on DK. Okay, that's in play for me. That's fine. Mahomes, 11%. Now we're talking the highest projected owned quarterback on the slate. I don't know if I want that out of 23 other options. Can I not find a better stack at a lower ownership? And with his higher ownership at 11.3% comes higher stacked ownership too. So that's going to be, Kelsey. That's going to be Tyreek Hill, and, McCole Hardman and Pringle both will have elevated as well, higher than they should be, even though they're cheap. And then you've got on the, FanDuel, goodness gracious, 18% on Patrick Mahomes. You're going to have higher ownership on the other players and his offense as well. Look at Tyreek Hill, 25.9% projected ownership. Again, this just comes with the quarterback being a highly projected owned player. I don't want that ownership on very high priced players. If they're expensive chalk, I want to get off it. I want to get off it quickly too. And on Yahoo, my goodness, here's an opportunity to play your man Dak. So on one hand, you've got Mahomes here at 24.4% projected ownership. And of course, why not? He's $36. And Dak Prescott, uncomfortable, awkward pricing at $37. He's higher priced than Patrick Mahomes is. And his ownership is at 4.6% on Yahoo. That is the type of play I'm looking to play. It's awkward pricing. If this game is higher scoring, Dak potentially could outscore him today, and he's going to be at a fraction of the ownership. In fact, that's 1/6 the ownership that Patrick Mahomes is. And because he is so much lower owned today, so will his passing targets be. You've got Kelsey at 25%. You have Tyreek Hill at 19%. CeeDee Lamb, 15%. So he is a little bit cheaper ownership-wise. But give me two guys you mentioned already. Cedric Wilson, who I think is going to be doing that third player role, 60% snaps, maybe 5-6 targets, get the downfield one. He's very cheap on Yahoo. I believe he has just $10. And Michael Gallup is $15, projected ownership of 9%. And then we have, where's Dalton Schultz? He has projected ownership of 5.8%. And Yahoo at $18. So I do like the passing game for Dallas today, only if the ownership is going to be lower on those specific sites. But otherwise, man, I'm looking to leverage this one, and I'm just praying it doesn't go 65, 70, 75 points. And I'm not behind probably a quarter to a third of the field who has exposure to a scatter shot of these players. So I'm actually looking to leverage this situation a bit today. I'm trying to get off of some of these chalkier options, and I'm looking to use Zeke. So we're going opposite directions there. One of us is going to be at the top. One's going to be at the bottom. Good luck today, my friend. We're going to go to Detroit and Cleveland. And here's another reason why I like one of these spots today, or why I'm trying to get off of here, because I've got awkward pricing. I've got interesting spots here today, and I'll just go ahead and let this one rip, and I'll kick it over to you. Cleveland, man, give me the defense and give me Nick Chubb. I think that this awkward pricing for Nick Chubb, kind of surrounded by some higher owned priced players, you can have a guy like Nick Chubb today, and you can hope that he's going to have, the 20 plus touches and go absolutely bonkers here. And we saw him 14 carries, 137 a couple weeks ago, 2 tutties. You're looking at 22, 21, 21 touches the first 3 games. I think that could happen again today. 30 plus point upside all day, baby. I think he's a fine cash option. I think he's a great tournament option. I like him a lot. Nick Chubb's ownership is affordable everywhere. It's easy to use today. 15% on DraftKings, 10% on FanDuel. Over there on Yahoo, 21%. He's a very nice price tag on Yahoo of just $32. So you've got a nice opportunity to jam in a guy who has multiple touchdown upside. Again, I'm looking for that touchdown equity, and he definitely brings that to the table. So you could plug him in and feel real good about your touchdown equity across the board. How are you feeling about this game?
Well, looking at this one, it's going to go exactly how we think it's going to go. Tim Boyle looks to be the starting quarterback, and if you look back through what he's done all the way into college, all he does is throw interceptions. I mean, it's like two touchdown passes to 13 interceptions his junior year. And then his senior year, 12 touchdown passes, 14 interceptions. That's all he does is throw interceptions here. So to me, the Browns DST, absolutely. This one, I don't know if you caught it, Mitch. A couple days ago, I mentioned, we play main slates, right? We're talking Detroit and Cleveland here. I don't know of anybody that just looks at the slate and just plays a single game slate and boom, that's it. That's where you go. It seems like a lot of work, and I don't know what the outcome would be instead of main slates. To me, this game just screams single game slate, and you put the Cleveland Browns in the MVP or the captain spot, and you don't look back. In any which way you slice it here, the Lions are going to give up 30 plus points. They're only going to score 10 or so. So I'm completely fading all of the Detroit Lions. And if there was one Lion to play, it would be DeAndre Swift. And why would you do that? Because again, a million other people think just like me in terms of wanting Swift as a one-off here. So there's nothing to be gained here. When you look down their starting roster here on the study hub here, Tim Boyle, Jamal Williams questionable, Trinity Benson, wide receiver. I'm in Detroit. I've never heard of Trinity Benson. Never heard of him, and he still has a questionable tag next to his name. TJ Hawkinson hasn't done a thing, put up a goose egg. I think he last game out. I mean, it is just all bad for the Lions here. So much so, I'm going to leave it alone because I could talk and talk and talk until we were out of time here about how bad the Lions are and how much they hurt my feelings here. But when you look at the Cleveland Browns, yeah, everything you want here is going to be in Nick Chubb and even Dearness Johnson here. They're Lions, they're 30th overall in terms of defending opposing wide receivers here. I could see a case, and this isn't, speaking out of school or saying anything profound here. I could see a case where probably to start the second half or midway through the third quarter, Cleveland is up like 32 to 10 or 30 to 0 actually. And it's just, Nick Chubb, you did your job. You scored twice. You're at 120 yards. And Dearness Johnson, we trust him. So at the end of the game, halfway through the third quarter and the entire fourth quarter, they're just shoving Dearness Johnson down our throats to just run out the clock. They're up 20, 30 points and we move on. So to me, I love the idea of pivoting in the running back spot to Dearness Johnson. Granted, he's $8,000 on FanDuel. Kind of stinks, but the touchdowns will be there. I could see Chubb scoring once or twice. I could see Dearness Johnson scoring minimum at one time here. And then on DraftKings, Dearness Johnson, only $5,600. So to me, I would literally, this might sound wild, but I would literally open the DraftKings app and I would start building my roster around Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson. Two running backs, same team. I don't think it matters. We're looking at probably, Mitch, 250 total rushing yards between the two today. Or, you can throw in a smattering of Demetric Felton or whatever here. But the Cleveland Browns are just going to run roughshod against the Lions today. And again, not saying anything everybody doesn't already know, but that's the way I'm headed. I do like the idea of Donovan Peoples-Jones just because of his price tag. $5,700 on FanDuel. On DraftKings, only $4,500. I think this kid has a 20, 30-yard touchdown in him this afternoon. And when it comes to Baker, again, could you even give the narrative that Baker is more of he's better as a real life quarterback, as a fantasy quarterback? I know he just doesn't do enough for fantasy purposes, and in terms of real life or seasonal formats, Baker just isn't the guy there. So I think we could get away with fading everybody in this game aside from both Cleveland Brown running backs.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm going to hit this button real quick, and then we're going to talk about A.J. Dillon, Green Bay, Minnesota. Hit that like button, my friends. I have not asked for it. We've been on live for 90 minutes. Should have done it in the beginning. I don't know what I'm doing on YouTube. Still such a noob over here. If you could just do us a massive favor, hit the like button for us right now. There's 90-something people watching. If you could just hit the like button for us, should get 90 likes. And that's super helpful to support two guys who are doing free content, giving away 2 free hours of analysis The preparation that goes into a 2-hour stream is significant as well. So, a simple just scroll down on the phone, hit the like, scroll down on your PC, hit the like button. That is tremendously helpful for us. We probably put, 6-7 hours of prep throughout the week and this morning into this stream and then doing it live. It's just a lot. It's a lot. And that is a really cool way to support us. We ask for nothing else. Don't need to subscribe or anything. The like button does enough for us and helps push us around the YouTube rankings or whatever. And then Beastie and I can bring a little bit more light on the company that we're doing this stuff with. So go ahead and hit that like button. And then let's talk about the interesting game, I think, divisional showdown between Green Bay and Minnesota. Let's do it. So A.J. Dillon, Uber Chalk situation potentially on DraftKings. I said there wasn't Uber Chalk today. He's not necessarily Uber Chalk, but I do think his ownership in cash games in small tournaments will be 35, 40%. These ownerships are built for large field tournaments because that's what a lot of people like to play. So you're talking like a milli maker. Okay, 24.7% A.J. Dillon, about accurate. But you're talking small tournaments, you're always going to have to elevate what these ownerships are. In which case, is A.J. Dillon a guy who you just sit there and you're like, yeah, I'm going to plug him in, lock and load milli maker? I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you should do that. I think that he is certainly a lock and load type play in cash games, small tournaments, 200, 300 people, a $25 47 entry, something like that, $12 59 entry, 49 entry, whatever it is. Yeah, you can go ahead and do those, sure. But in a large milli maker, I don't know if that's the play. But if that is not the play, then the arm of Aaron Rodgers and the hands of Davante Adams will be. Somebody's going to score the points. And if A.J. Dillon goes down with an ankle twist or a hammy injury or something, or he just is not scoring touchdowns or catching passes, somebody's moving the football for Green Bay unless they're getting blanked. Now, this might not be a high-scoring game, but what we get out of this situation on both sides of the football are two teams that where the production is going. It is not a Josh Allen Buffalo Bills situation where you're like, is it Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, Stephon Diggs? Who's getting the ball out of the backfield? Is it going to be Devin Singletary, Zach Moss? Is Dawson Knox going to catch the football today? You've got 7 guys, 6-7 guys who you're always wondering, who's scoring for the Bills? It ain't that in Green Bay. It is literally Rodgers, the running back A.J. Dillon today, and Davante Adams. For Minnesota, you've got Kirk Cousins, you've got Justin Jefferson. Goodness gracious, I always do this. Adam Thielen and Delvin Cook. And, maybe I suppose you get the tight end out there, Tyler Conklin. But where most of the fantasy production's going. It's focused fantasy production. I love it. And when you get those opportunities, I know it's a divisional game. I actually really like the idea of stacking this game up a little bit. I like the idea of using all of those guys as different one-offs. Each and every one of them have tremendous upside on their own right. Multiple touchdown upside from Jefferson, multiple touchdown upside from Thielen, absolutely from Davante Adams. A.J. Dillon, I think, has that upside. Delvin Cook, we know, has that upside. I think you can use the players in this game, and then if you don't think either quarterback has the upside that you want, 300 yards, 3 scores, then use some of these individuals, and maybe it's not a lot of yards through the air, but they're scoring points. Not entirely sure how to stack this one up entirely yet. Definitely will be something I focus on when I start building my lineups here after the show. Do you have any significant lean in this spot today?
Not necessarily. This game it's going to be just a good football game that everybody that, if you're a fan of football, this is the one you want to watch. NFC North matchup. These two teams hate each other. They call it the black and blue division, and rightfully so here. A.J. Dillon, since the moment after Aaron Jones was kind of, out of the game, I remember there was a video of A.J. Dillon carrying Aaron Jones on his back, piggyback style, into the locker room at the end of the game here. So it's all love with the Green Bay Packers here. And in terms of players in this one, you said it perfectly. You know what you're going to get. There's a clear pecking order in terms of the Minnesota Vikings offense here. Everybody's going to look at Aaron Rodgers or, as we mentioned, Mahomes, Dak Prescott. Nobody's paying too much attention to Kirk Cousins. I think in an odd way, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mitch, or anybody in the chat here, I think there is just a little bit of an edge to be had here with Kirk Cousins. $7,400 $600 on FanDuel, only $6,100 on DraftKings. We know the Green Bay Packers, their secondary and their linebackers, they're okay, actually 7th overall in terms of defending opposing quarterbacks here. But this game going to be hard fought. Minnesota's getting 1 point here at home. I think it's going to be close here. You're looking at a 24-23 kind of game, or 20-21, something along those lines here. So it's going to be fantastic to sit back and watch. In terms of a DFS perspective, I think I'm going to just mix and match. But as you asked me, I think I would hone in on Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and maybe try and squeeze in both Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. And if you're in a pinch at tight end, Tyler Conklin, who I believe is probably, aside, let's throw Dalvin Cook out. He's probably, third in the pecking order after Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen here.
Yeah, I think one guy I'm really interested in a lot today, and I was just kind of showing people while you're talking the game logs versus the team. So you look at Dalvin Cook, he has absolutely feasted on Green Bay over the last 2-3 years here. We're talking, listen, the last 3 games, 26, 21, 47 points. He scored 47 last time these two faced each other in week 8, 163 rushing yards, scored 5 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown last year in their 2 games in 2020. So he's had Green Bay's number. And Dalvin Cook, the ownership is just not there on him like it is on some of the other running backs today. And we're talking large field tournaments. Listen, I keep trying to just differentiate the two because they are different. And the way you should approach a Millie Maker versus a smaller tournament, small field, should be different. And you got a guy like Dalvin Cook, my goodness, 8,200 on DraftKings, 84 on FanDuel, 27 on Yahoo. He'll be a cash option, chalky option over there on Yahoo at $27. Our projected ownership was 34% on Yahoo. But on FanDuel and DraftKings, the ownership's not too high at all, 15% and 9% respectively on FanDuel DK. I really, really like Dalvin Cook. Again, it's slightly just kind of awkward pricing. I think people look at this and say, give me Nick Chubb, safer spot, 9K. Joe Mixon, again, another awkward price. You've got 3 awkward price guys in Mixon, Connor, and Cook, and you can have opportunity for 2 touchdowns. This guy had 24 carries last week, scored, thank goodness, but he also went 0 for 3 on one drive. They gave him 3 straight carries inside the 5-yard line. He couldn't get in the end zone. So, there was potential for him to score 2 touchdowns last week as well. I would not be shocked. Of course, the probability is low of it happening, but I wouldn't be shocked to see 2 touchdowns from these 3 guys. Can you imagine entering those 3 to start your lineup and getting 6 touchdowns to begin your lineup? You're sitting pretty. At that point, you're just hoping your stack does all right. And then you have a chance of taking down a tournament. Absolutely. So I want those touchdown equity. Guys, I think you have an opportunity today on FanDuel specifically to use all 3 of Mixon, Connor, and Cook, who I think all have multiple touchdown upside and all should be less than 15% owned based on our current projections in large tournaments. So that is a really interesting spot. Let's move on. I know you got to scoot out of here earlier than usual. Houston, Tennessee today. Just nothing here for me, honestly. Don't like the running games on either team. Don't like the passing games on either team right now. A.J. Brown's going to explode sooner or later. He's going to be in play every single week for single entry tournaments of all sizes, MME of all sizes, large tournaments, whatever you want to do. A.J. Dillon in play as a one-off. Yahoo price at $23. Absolutely in play over there on Yahoo. FanDuel 7-2. He's going to score 2 touchdowns here. Any game. This could be it. Houston could roll over and die nice and early for you. But honestly, outside A.J. Brown, Tennessee defense, I'm not touching this game. How about you?
Well, I wouldn't be doing the job that you asked of me here with Team Riser Fall and Bottom of the Barrel if I didn't mention Donta Foreman here. Tennessee Titans, they host the Houston Texans here. And when you look at his prices, $6,200 on FanDuel, absolutely not. But on DraftKings, only $4,900. And then Foreman on Yahoo, only, looking at my notes, only $14. I have this, don't want to say kid, I feel like he's been around a long time. I have Foreman for around 15 total carries here. And given the amount of work and the price tag on DraftKings and Yahoo, he's very much in play for me, given the fact no Derrick Henry, obviously, and now Jeremy McNichols is going to be inactive. He picked up some sort of, injury here, and I know what folks are going to say. Adrian Peterson is still there, absolutely. But when you look at how they've been using Adrian Peterson, if they get inside the red zone, they get away from him early. If they give him 1 carry, if he doesn't do nothing, he's gone, he's done, and it's Donta Foreman Foreman for the rest of that series, when it's goal to goal here. So I see a case here where Donta Foreman makes for, we're going to maybe this time tomorrow, you screenshot the Millie Maker winner or a guy who wins $500,000. We're just going to casually scroll through. It's going to be all the same cast of characters, Mixon, Cook, Devontae Adams, something. And you're going to go, what the heck? Donta Foreman had 24 total fantasy points. I didn't see that coming. Just here to tell folks, don't glance over him. See what we got in him. And given his price on, as I said, DraftKings, only, double checking my notes, only $4,900 on DraftKings and only $14 on Yahoo. In a weird way, you can get some sort of salary relief for a running back that's going to see anywhere between 14 to 16 total carries in this game, where Tennessee should have it well in hand early on in this one. They'll roll over and die, as you said here, Mitch.
Let's see. Jeremy McNichols. Let's see how many touches he had last week. Looks like he had 3 receiving targets, did have 4 carries the week prior, 7 carries. So, I'm not entirely sure how many, how much opportunity is going to be opened up. Let's check the study hub here. Let's go to Tennessee. I'm going to go to the running backs. I want to see the snap rates and see what has been opened up for us. So what I did is I clicked the running back tab down here at the bottom. I went to the main slate. I just drag and drop, so I had them. Now I'm going to click Tennessee, and here we go. I've got the running backs out here in Tennessee, and I can go and look at some of this data that I care about, which is snap rates. So Jeremy McNichols, check it out. You are correct, my dude. So Adrian Peterson, his 2 weeks with the team, 33% snap rate. Look who garnered the extra snaps last week in place of Jeremy McNichols. So Donta Foreman in week 9, 21%, McNichols 45%. And then he lost that percentage of the snap, lost 18%. Donta Foreman picked it up right there. So he picked up the lost snaps from McNichols, and you would assume this week that this percentage of snaps, a lion's share of this will probably go to Donta Foreman. Let's say he ends up with 55% of the snap rate. That is interesting to me because he had 13 carries and receptions in week 10 on 35% snap rate. So if you're saying his snap rate is going to go up this week, if he's specifically going to he's going to be the direct benefactor of the Jeremy McNichols lost snaps or free snaps open now. I like that play a lot. I was not aware that McNichols was ruled out today. That is a really interesting spot to me on Yahoo at $13. And Foreman's a big boy, too. If he gets in there, can plunge in a touchdown, too. $13, man. Holy smokes. On Yahoo, you give me a guy who can get 15 touches and has touchdown equity today. Yeah, I love that play at $13. DraftKings 4-9. Sure, absolutely, man. FanDuel 6-2. Now we're starting to get in that territory where you're like, what kind of upside do you really have on 14, 15 touches? It better be a super efficient game for him. So maybe not there on FanDuel, but the other two, I'm in, baby. AP, I'm just not there. Again, it just comes down to upside. Is he going to get some opportunity today? Absolutely. There's no denying that, but I don't know if we have the upside that I want to win a tournament. Indy Buffalo. All right, here we go, man. Darius Leonard, depending on whether he's in or out today, should shift how I view the Bills' offense in its entirety. Currently, I like me some Josh Allen, and that's literally it. I like looking at Josh Allen naked out there with no stack involved, no Diggs, no Beasley, no Sanders, no Moss, no Singletary. Knox a little bit on DraftKings at 4K, certainly in play. But outside of that, it's like just run a naked Josh Allen at 8-1, 8-8, and $41 on Yahoo. Always going to be in play because I'm a super biased Bills fan. On the flip side, it's hard for me to want any of those players. The Bills defense has just been incredible. When you go look at the defense tab and you sort each and every one of these positions, and you sort like, what is the defense giving up the least? It's the freaking Bills at every spot. Defense against quarterbacks this year. The Bills are giving up 4 less points per game, 10.63 points per game to opposing quarterbacks. That's 4 less than every other defense in the NFL in the main slate. Okay, well, let's check our running game. That must mean Jonathan Taylor's going to pop off today. Maybe the Bills are a funnel defense towards running. No, Bills are giving up the least amount of points to opposing running backs. All right, well, maybe one wide receiver goes nuclear each day. Nope, they're giving up 3 less points per game against opposing wide receivers. Defense against tight ends, 6th best at 5, right? It's like, who scores? Nobody scores. They're giving up the least points per game against opposing offenses, 49 fantasy points per game. I want nothing to do with anybody on Indy. Somebody could pop off on Indy, so be it. And if that beats me, again, so be it. I'm not targeting them. How about you?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. The only person I would consider for the Colts is obviously Taylor here.
Jonathan Taylor,
Jonathan
yeah.
Taylor, yeah, excuse me. But again, you laid it out so beautifully. The Buffalo Bills right now, they're first overall against defending running backs. They're first overall in defending wide receivers, and they're seventh overall in terms of defending opposing tight ends. There is little to no room for opposing teams to kind of get anything going in this one. Granted, I have Taylor, JT as they call him, around 19 or 20 total targets and touches. You're looking at what, 16 rushes or carries in this one, and another 4 or 5, targets, receptions in this one. But it's just not enough to move the needle given his price tag. He is just through the roof, $8,800 on FanDuel. DraftKings, $8,300. He's only behind, I believe, Christian McCaffrey, who's 10 grand on FanDuel here. So to me, I'm laying off any Indianapolis Colts here, and that's fine. I could see a case where, someone stacks up the Colts, right? They stack up Wentz, Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman, and it's just an absolute dud, and they waste their $1, $2, whatever they put on the entry fee. I just don't see it here, and I'm with you. I'd rather fade the Colts and have them beat me down the road here at the end of the slate here and be like, oh, well, it was just an odd thing. It was something weird happened here, and I'm okay with it, given all the other options we have here in Week 11.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I will say this. So, when you look at DraftKings specifically too, Christian McCaffrey here at 8.9K, certainly going to garner most of the attention at this price range. Yeah. So if that happens, I guess if you want to look at it milli maker wise, and literally we're talking just the largest of tournaments, a guy like Jonathan Taylor certainly in play. He could have 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and all he needs to do is outscore the guys surrounding him at that price point. Nick Chubb, Zeke Elliott, Christian McCaffrey. And I think everybody's going to do the comfortable thing. And what is that? It's going to go up to CMC for $600 more. Similar to why I like Dalvin Cook a little bit today. I think people look at 8.2 and they're like, I'm just going to go get CMC at 8.9K, or I'm going to pay down for AJ Dillon at 6.2, James Conner 6.1, these guys down here. So you do have, again, we just keep talking about these awkward prices. Yeah, I suppose milli maker style, Jonathan Taylor, you're hoping for a couple touchdown runs, maybe bust a 70-yarder like Derrick Henry did against the Bills, something like that. Okay, in play there. Outside of that, very difficult for me to use him in any other way, shape, or form. I still think you just have so much touchdown equity in these three guys, Cook, Chubb, Mixon here, and just the awkward pricing. Again, you're paying a premium, though, for a couple of these guys. So I don't know if you can use all three of them in the same lineup today. Let's keep moving along here, see if we can finish up before you got to go. Miami, New York Jets. Do you have anybody in play in this spot?
I do, and it's crazy. You might call me a fool here, but I love the idea, and this is all for GPP purposes here. And when you look at, let me bring it up here on my screen, Miami at the Jets. Nothing special from a betting perspective. I believe the Jets are getting points at home. Nothing crazy here. I've started to ever since I sat down last Sunday and Monday to do my notes for Bottom of the Barrel and just look ahead to Week 11 here. I've kind of been pushed towards like the Elijah Moore and Jamison Crowder here. On DraftKings, Crowder, $4,700. Elijah Moore, only $4,900. And then on FanDuel, Crowder, $5,700. Elijah Moore, $5,900 here. And when you look at these two guys, one's a kid, one's a full-grown man, Jamison Crowder. Flacco is now the quarterback. If you look back through it, I don't want to bore anybody with this, but Flacco he's a serviceable NFL quarterback. And, I had Mike White in Bottom of the Barrel. I had him highlighted for the Jets. Let's get this guy one more kind of, play here, moment in the sun here. And then boom, Flacco's now the starting quarterback. This guy, he can move the ball down the field. He's got an arm. Let's see how much juice is left in that sucker here. But to me, I have this trio of wide receivers today, and it starts with Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, and Darnell Mooney, we already discussed here. But to me, Elijah Moore, Miami's 30th overall against opposing wide receivers. As I said, only $4,500 on DraftKings, $18 on Yahoo here. In this game, it's going to be an odd occurrence. Miami, a lot of folks have Miami projected to put up 31 points in comparison to the Jets 10 or 14 points here. I'm going against the grain on this game. I honestly do think the Jets hang in this one, and I honestly do think the Jets are able to put up 24, 27 points. So you're looking at 3, maybe 4 touchdowns from the Jets. Where are they going to go? The rookie running back, Michael Carter. You look at his price tag, probably a full fade for me on FanDuel, $6,600, but on DraftKings, $5,800 here. So to me, it might be wild, might be shocking, but that's what I kind of do. That's what I like to do with bottom of the barrel and my DFS content here. So would it be wild for me to a game stack of Flacco, Carter, Elijah Moore, and Jamison Crowder? Absolutely. But what's the worst that could happen? Someone calls me stupid. I lose $1. It is what it is here. But to me, there's just something inside that says, why not stack the Jets today and see what happens against the very beatable, Miami Dolphins defense in this one, Mitch? You are muted here, Mitch. We can't hear you.
What a rookie move, huh? Got that mic mute. Yeah, I tell you, we got to get a producer in here next year so I don't have to do all the producer stuff and dive into the conversations, man. It's tough. I'm going to skip this game. I'm just going to skip it. I think you broke it down enough. I kind of want to hear these. I know you got to bounce here. New Orleans, Philadelphia. Let's hear it, bro. What do you got here?
New Orleans and Philadelphia going to be a good game. And when you look at how to attack this one, let me bring it up here on my computer in terms of DVP and stuff. I think, in all honesty, people have already called me silly and called me stupid. I love the idea of Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, and that's about it. We know Dallas Goedert got the huge contract, and everybody is just raking me over the coals because the New Orleans Saints defense has been pretty good. They're second overall against opposing running backs here. So Miles Sanders, first game back in a while. What does he garner in terms of targets and touches? But look at what Boston Scott and Jordan Howard have done as of late. They've just been going nuts. And if Miles Sanders can come back and see, 10 plus carries, 2-3 targets in the passing game, I think Miles Sanders only $5,000 on DraftKings. A little bit pricey for me on FanDuel given the matchup, $6,000 here. So personally speaking, I would have no issue watching or playing Jalen Hurts naked, as you so finely laid out about Josh Allen here. I think Jalen Hurts is in a good spot here to put up some points and some yardage under the radar given the matchup. Everybody, the casual DFS fan or sports bettor looks at this one and, immediate fade for all Philadelphia Eagles in this one. I want to, tell people, hold on, don't go too fast. I love Jalen Hurts. And on the New Orleans side of things, there isn't too much there in terms of DFS, as you put it in the beginning of the broadcast here. Trevor Siemian makes for some nice player prop bets. In terms of DFS and a one-off, I do love Deontay Harris. He's starting to acclimate himself as the wide receiver one in that offense. I believe his target share has been, and this is just off the top of my head, it's been, in the 21 to 22% target share range. Granted, Philadelphia fourth overall in defending wide receivers here, but in a game here where the volume is going to be plenty here for the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, give me Deontay Harris, give me Jalen Hurts, and that's just about it. There's not too much else that speaks to me here. I'm getting off microphone because I'm trying to find my notes in this one. Going to be a close game, 24-21 in favor of probably New Orleans, but some drips and drabs in this one. Nothing that I feel comfortable hammering home, setting in concrete. You did it again, Mitch. You're muted once again. Back to you. You owe me lunch now at this moment in time.
Lunch and dinner, dude. What the heck am I doing here? Adam Troutman, snap rate way up, 86% average over the last 4 weeks. Targets are up as well, 6, 7, and 6 in the 3 starts with Trevor Siemian. So I don't know. He likes him there. So I think Adam Troutman kind of flying under the radar today. Sub 2% ownership, looks like, across the board. 3.3K on DK, 4.8 on FanDuel, and $10 on Yahoo. That 3.3 on DraftKings. What I like most about that, my friend, price point pivot off of Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet, 3.4K on DraftKings, and for the Chicago Bears, going to garner some ownership, 7-8% today. You can get Adam Troutman about half or a third of that. So that's interesting to me. San Francisco, Jacksonville, actually, I like this a little bit on the San Francisco side. I kind of alluded to that earlier today, but before you got to go, where are you in this one?
This one, again, another game. It's kind of nice to have a game like this on each slate, right? The 1 p.m. games, we have this one, and then 4:05, we have Cincy at Vegas. This one's going to go exactly how you think it's going to go. San Francisco is going to wipe the floor with Jacksonville in this one. I think San Francisco hangs 30-plus points in this one in comparison to Jacksonville and their 10 points. Absolutely all hands off Jacksonville in this one. And then when you get to San Francisco, I know a lot of folks, everybody already is going all in on Jeff Wilson Jr., rightfully so. Only $5,100 on DraftKings, only $5,000 on FanDuel here. And then you look at what are we going to do with the wide receivers here? Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. I mean, Deebo Samuel, he would have kind of a nice, I believe it's air yards, and he would have a nice average. But every time he catches the ball, he takes it to the house. I mean, there's nothing more than you like to see than from Deebo Samuel, just putting it together this season. Deebo, $7,600 on FanDuel. Shoot, $7,800 on DraftKings. I can't remember a time where a player is more expensive on DK than it is on FanDuel here. You're looking at probably, a projected snap share, 78% for Deebo Samuel, 72% for Brandon Ayuk. I'd have no issue stacking Jeff Wilson Jr., Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel, and then I would imagine you kind of got to sprinkle Jimmy G in there. But to be honest with you, not touching Jacksonville, love the spot that San Francisco is in this one.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up Deebo Samuel, and let me make sure. Yep, Mike is on. Producer Mike on. Nothing's muted. You guys can hear me. Thank goodness. This preseason, I brought up Deebo Samuel, one of my favorite targets. He was like an off-season, sleeper. I was targeting. I told everybody this guy is like A.J. Brown light. Little did I know that he is literally now the new A.J. Brown, and the former A.J. Brown, he's A.J. Brown light. My goodness, Deebo Samuel is exactly what A.J. Brown did last year, the year before. Catch the ball in the open field and was just an absolute behemoth. You can't tackle him. He's shake and bake. He's taking it to the house with a tremendous open field speed, just magical with the football. And he's no longer A.J. Brown. Like, he's just Deebo Samuel, man. This guy is phenomenal in the open field. And health was really the only thing that ever held him back. For as long as he's healthy, keep plugging away there. I like him as a one-off. I like him in stacks today. Actually, I think you can, because I think you have to look at it like this. If Jeff Wilson's going to be higher owned today and he busts, well, then why did he bust? Was it the defense of Jacksonville that stopped the San Francisco offense? Well, then play Jacksonville defense. And if you don't think that can happen and you think Jeff Wilson is a bust today, well, then Jimmy G must have thrown the ball for 275 and have 3 touchdowns, because some way, shape, or form, this offense is going to move the football and they're going to score touchdowns. You have to invest somewhere in this game. If it's Jeff Wilson, plug him in, lock and load, move along. If it's not Jeff Wilson, start looking at the passing game. Washington, Carolina, last game on the slate for you, and then I know you got to leave. Where are you in this one, if you are at all?
Not too much stands out to me in this one, right? Washington, when you throw the game to me first, I feel like I have to talk about, seasonal or game scripts here to a certain extent. But in this one, on the Washington side of things, I mean, when you look at Carolina's defense, they're very stout. 3rd against quarterbacks, 4th against running backs, 3rd against wide receivers. The only way to attack this one would be the Washington tight end, and as it stands now, it's John Bates. I've never heard of this guy. I completely missed the memo in bottom of the barrel this week. John Bates, $4,800 on FanDuel, $2,500 on DraftKings. Earlier in the chat here, someone mentioned, I mean, this was like an hour ago, what do we do with the Washington tight ends? And I replied back and I said, John Bates is the only healthy tight end in this one, and Carolina, they're 11th overall against opposing tight ends. So there's literally nothing I want on the Washington side of things. On Carolina, how can you look past Christian McCaffrey? How can you look past DJ Moore? Washington, they're 31st overall against opposing wide receivers. I could see a case here where Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore account for every single point in this game. Well, aside from the kicker with extra points here. But to me, this is all about CMC, all about DJM, and we move on. And that's just about it. I wouldn't hesitate to look at the Carolina Panthers DST on FanDuel or DraftKings, or even in a single game slate. Makes for a nice play here. But to me, it's all about the Carolina Panthers, all about CMC and DJ Moore here, Mitch.
All right, brother, man. Hey, I know you got to bounce. You want to give your little soliloquy here at the end and let people who came to listen to you just kind of hear you on the way out. And then I'm going to build lineups for anybody that sticks around. I'm actually going to be doing a little bit here in FanDuel on Fantasy Cruncher and talking about some of the things I'm doing today. So if you want to stick around, see some lineup building, I'll show you a little bit of Yahoo, FanDuel, and DraftKings, and do some work in FC. And floor is yours, my friend.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and stick around. When a lot of folks, and to this day, to this day, when they play DFS, their number one, gripe is, I don't know how to build lineups, or I don't know what contest to enter. So stick around. Mitch is a master. He's a maestro, let's say. He's got the things, and he's helping you build lineups. So stick around after I split. Just briefly, we're coming upon Thanksgiving is in a few days. So you know the deal. What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? We all know that. I'm not going to bore anybody with that. I just want to tell folks, in today's day and age of social media, and everybody's got their phone and their computer, and everybody's looking for likes and to go viral here, sometimes the best move is just to sit back and relax. Let other people, watch what other people are saying and doing, and then you shut down and you kind of look at that and go, what are the next moves I want to make, both personally, professionally, as a hobby? You'll get a lot of other people just spouting off in verbal diarrhea, as they say. Look, I do it a lot too when I talk DFS and sports, but as a man here, as a human being, it's okay to sit back and relax. Not every opinion, not every thought in your brain has to be, broadcast or tweeted out to the masses here. I found the best way to kind of calm down and plan my next step. If I'm in a rut, or like writing, or just talking to someone, if I need to get over the hump, I sit back, I rest, and I relax, and I watch what everybody else is doing. You can learn a lot about people just taking a step back and just being silent. I mentioned it in the beginning of the broadcast here. A lot of folks, they listen to reply. They don't listen to understand. I think that's one of the biggest disconnects in today's day and age. So stop, smell the roses. Thanksgiving is here, and what do you have to be thankful for? I know it's kind of tried and lame, but it's tried and true here. So I appreciate everybody for being here. I look forward to this coming week. Major content week for Team Riser Fall. Major content week for me personally, and I can't wait to get everything out to all of you here soon until we talk again. Monday Night Football video out soon. Thanks, Mitch, and I will be in touch with all of you. Have a good day.
Appreciate you, brother. Enjoy your day, and we'll talk before Thanksgiving, my dude.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll talk to you. Bye.
All righty, let's do this freaking thing. Let's build some lineups, baby. Yeah, we're going to have a special Thanksgiving live stream Thursday morning, so I believe I'll be starting that at 10:30. I'm still trying to coordinate, and I haven't even got a chance to. I've been 1 day, 1 week at a time here with NBA now. I'm going to be potentially putting together a little cast for a Thursday live stream, so make sure you come back. I'll post the the scheduled stream or whatever up there on YouTube, so you guys can grab it there and hit the notification bell so you know when it comes on. Let's build some lineups, man. I think it's a good time for it. Now, if you use my Donuts playbook, you'll actually see my player pool this week on each site extremely small. I'm trying something a little bit different based on some of the things I've seen through lineup study, some of the things I've seen when I do my lineup rewind on my own time, and looking at kind of just tightening up my player pools, tightening up where I'm going with my plays, my stacks, and things like that. And I think that today is going to be a potentially terrible or tremendous game. Honestly, there's going to be no in between. I'm really just embracing the volatility of a sport where a lot of the fantasy points are entirely contingent on people scoring touchdowns. So my player pools on both sides, honestly, targeting more of the touchdown equity across the board. And I'm really trying to embrace the value on both sites where they are, use them where they're most valuable, and then try to leverage some of the higher owned players who are a little bit more expensive. If there is somebody who is highly owned, who is cheap, and it's still a solid value, a guy like Jeff Wilson, I'm just going to be plugging them in and going from there. So a site like FanDuel, where my player pool is extremely small today, 31 players, you've got a guy in, Jeff Wilson at 5K. Let's look at this real quick. Jeff Wilson had 10 carries last week, first game all season, right? Trey Sermon, 0 carries. He was active. J. Michael Hasty had 1 carry. Oh, no, excuse me. He was inactive in week 10. So you had 27 carries from Elijah Mitchell last week. 27. Who are they going to? Hasty, gone. Elijah Mitchell, gone. Who's left? Jeff Wilson and the guy in the doghouse, Trey Sermon. Somebody's going to get all those touches, man. 27 carries. Are you kidding me? In a 31-10 ball game. Literally, they were just like, hey, just run out the clock for us. We're up big against the Rams. That was a good win for us. What the heck do you think is going to happen against Jacksonville today? They're probably going to be playing with a little bit of a lead today. I think that Jeff Wilson, we've seen in these spots where he's just slamming the football. 20 plus carries. The guy's got touchdown equity. He can catch the football, 2 touchdown receptions to close out the season. I really, really like Jeff Wilson today. I think this is a really interesting spot. I would have paid for him at 6,500 on FanDuel. I would have paid for him at 6,000 on DraftKings, and you're getting him at a bargain on both sites. So for me today, Jeff Wilson, my friends, likely will end up 100% exposure on FanDuel because of that touchdown equity and the price point. And on DraftKings, my friends, you can look at Jeff Wilson. And let me just bring his name up real quick at 5,100. And this is probably a price point where he will be higher owned for me. He will not be 100% owned. On FanDuel, lock him in. I'm locking him in. I'm just going to lock him in. And over here on Yahoo, at $14, a tremendous play. And he allows me to open up salary to go get some of these higher price quarterbacks that I am interested in up here at their higher price points. And it allows me to slam in Devontae Adams and 3 touchdown upside, Tyreek Hill, 2 touchdown upside. I get Debo here in the same game, $29. It's like I have the money now to go pay for all these guys because I'm just going to eat what that value is down there at that price point. Excuse me. Defense, again, another position where you can get somebody down here that will allow you to be, targeting the higher priced players as well. There's a lot of different defenses you can use today. You could use Baltimore. You can use, let's see here, Philly. Philly keeps scoring. They're doing well. Heck, you can leverage all that Dallas ownership and use the Chiefs defense, who have not played great this year, but heck, they get a couple sacks and a pick today like they did last week, and they're returning 7 points. That is not too bad, my friends. They can do that. They can totally do that. You can see this defense. Look at it. Turn the page. 29, 36, 30, 30, 32 first 5 games. They've given up 13, 27, 17, 7, and 14 over the last 5. And against a couple of pretty solid offenses in Tennessee, Green Bay, Vegas has been pretty good. And they're holding these teams at 14, 7 actual, 17 actual points. Not too bad. So I think the Chiefs defense actually quite interesting down there at $10 if you want to leverage all that ownership from the Dallas Cowboys, because the Dallas offense is going to be higher owned everywhere today. You could use the Chiefs defense, try to leverage all of that, and then go ahead and build out your stacks in any way, shape, or form that you can after that to just leverage all that ownership, which is really DFS 101 for these tournaments. Let me go back to the optimal over here. Okay, so I'm going to grab the Rise or Fall morning projections here. Not NBA. I'm so used to going to NBA only. Let me grab the projections. I'm going to download them, upload them right into FC so you can see how smooth and quickly this can go. All right, so I click. Here's our projections down here. DraftKings, FanDuel, SuperDraft, Yahoo. By the way, I'll do it later. Let me grab the FanDuel projections. Upload data. Upload. Now, if you want, you can upload the ratings, ownerships, all our different metrics in here. You can. Right now, while I'm live, I'm just doing projections. There we go. So I've got our projections in here, and you can see if I sort by value. Again, this is why he is just going to get locked in there. A 2.79 value, the highest value at the running back position. It's not even close. The highest wide receiver value. He's the highest value basically at almost every position here. So I'm just plugging them in. Defense. I'm actually, this is FanDuel. All right, here we go. So if I am building out like an optimal lineup today, all right, I thought I might have to lock in Jeff Wilson. I don't. I can simply just crunch and look. He's going to be in there no matter what. A.J. Dillon at 7K, Mark Ingram at 6.8. You can see the optimizer is often going to draw from the highest value plays. So again, this is my very tiny player pool. So it's just a little different today. And I've asked FC to jam in a 3-player game stack. Now, I'll tell you this. If you're going to be using a 3-player game stack from KC and Dallas where higher owned players are there, I think you're doing it wrong. If you're going to be targeting KC and Dallas, you probably should have large game stacks, 4 or 5-player game stacks from that. So I will say this. If you are targeting this Mahomes or Dak Prescott game stack, you should probably have a smaller stack to begin with. If you're going with one of these other types of stacks, you probably only need a 3-player. I think you can even get away with like a 2-player game stack and just target players differently. You also need to be mindful about who's going to be, running it back in different games. So if you go to your advanced options and you have QB with at least one from your team, one from the opposing team, and then you use Josh Allen, Well, if you don't have a Michael Pittman guy in there or someone from Indy on the other side, it's not going to crunch out someone on the opposite side unless they're in your player pool. Look, there is nobody on the Bills that actually have in there right now. So I don't even have stacking pieces for Josh Allen. So you're not going to get a stack like that. Same thing here. I don't have anybody from Vegas. Do I have somebody from the Bengals? Yeah, I targeted Burrow and Higgins, but nobody from Las Vegas. So you need to be mindful about who is in your player pool when you're asking FC to do these crunches. Now, if I use Dak, I'm going to get Dak, Gallup, and Kelsey. These guys are all in my player pool. See how that works? So be mindful about who's in your pool when you're building out your stacks today. And if you're building out like you're just doing like a cash game play, goodness gracious, you don't need 31 players. I put up my cash pool in the Donuts playbook today. You should be able to go ahead. And if you want, what you can do, my friends, is you take my player pool here. You grab this player pool from the FanDuel cash pool. You upload these guys into FC, and you should be able to just probably lock a player or two and crunch out your own cash, or you can crunch out a cash optimal where you're not doing any stacked pieces and you just allow FC to slam in best possible plays, best possible upside, and go from there. Okay. All right, let's look at these. If you're looking on DraftKings today, again, let's talk about some of these decision-making price point pivots. So you've got one right here, Christian McCaffrey, 8.9K. I think he'll be a little bit higher owned today at that price point. A guy people are looking at on FanDuel at 10K, and you're seeing him at 8.9 on DraftKings. I'm going to lead to some higher ownership. You got a couple price point pivots here. Jonathan Taylor, probably super suboptimal, but for a milli maker, shoot. I mean, listen, he has 100 yards and 2 touchdowns today. Like, what if it's a game like last week, right? This could totally happen, right? 6 dump offs out of the backfield against the Bills. Like that can happen against a real good defense. 27 points. I mean, that could outscore. He only needs to outscore these guys by a point or two, and all of a sudden you're leaping the field by a point or two. How often have you just missed out on taking down a tournament by a point or missed the cash line by a point? You're playing the milli maker. It's going to be hard to win a milli maker with a 25% owned running back. I think you can be a little bit different today and have similar players. There's not much difference between Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey other than ownership being half of what it is than CMC's. Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, these guys have the same upside as CMC does and at lower ownership. So I'm intrigued in those types of plays. A.J. Dillon, going to be really tough to pivot off of in small tournaments, in cash games, but in large field tournaments, I'm trying to find ways to just be a little bit different. There's James Conner right there. There's Antonio Gibson, who, friends, he had 24 carries last week. The opportunity could be the exact same opportunity today that A.J. Dillon has. And who knows? I mean, you just need him to outscore him by a fraction of a point, and then the play was worth it. So we'll see how the tournaments go today. Just be mindful of these price point pivots, and they're at every single position. They're on each site. Friends, I actually see something I need to attend to in my Discord that I need to talk to with staff. So I'm going to step away here. We covered everything I think we honestly needed to cover today. We do enough work during the week. Again, come back tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and I will be doing a membership giveaway, and it'll be for Team Res or Fall members only, and it'll be like I think I'm going to do like a quiz type thing, and you guys are going to reply in chat, and whomever gets the answer right, something like that, I'll think of something fun, and we'll pick a winner through that, okay? So I will see you guys in Discord. Fortune favors the bold. Do not be concerned today about ownership as much as we have in the past. If the 90 people watching could just hit that like button on your way out, it's extremely helpful for me. Listen, I'm going to do a private, not private, I'll probably do a special Thanksgiving stream Thursday. So if you're just somebody who's not a member and you're like, I just want to come back and get some free info, I'll see you Thursday morning, 10:30. Hopefully you come back Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern when we do our lineup study and lineup rewind streams for NFL and NBA. And we'll see you guys on the inside of Discord as I go discuss DFS with my members right now.